you do with a sick chemist? If you can't heal him and you can't cure him, then you might as well bury him.
It's morbid on a Monday.
That's really interesting because I went to school with a guy named Joe Beaker. And when we graduated him, I called him a graduating beaker.
There you go.
I just made that up on the fly.
Well done.
Graduating beaker. Thank you. There's your science humor for the day.
Very good.
All right. Coming up on the show this morning, Stephen Portnoy is going to be joining us. Now comes word that more states are going to be sending National Guard troops to Washington, D.C. What, all the crime in their states? Or there's no more crime in those states, so they're going to D.C.?
They're red states.
Okay, but there is still crime in red states.
Not that I've heard.
Stephen Portnoy's got that at 7:35. Karen Travers has the ongoing conversation about the summit from Friday night as Zelensky and European leaders travel to Washington, D.C. to meet with Donald Trump. We'll get the insights into all of that. Stephen Roberts is going to put a political spin on all of this, the fallout from the Trump-Putin meeting. Even Donald Trump looked like somebody stole his milk money Friday night after the summit. So a lot of hope, but a lot, sort of silence afterwards. We'll get to that with Stephen Roberts at 7:50. Brian Clark is going to join us from ABC News in Texas. The Democrats are returning to the House of Representatives, so that gerrymandering plan looks like it's going to go through. So Brian Clark's got that. Randy Carricker is going to talk about a tough weekend out at Busch Stadium. Yeah. But the wonderful story of Pozo, man, the guy goes to the hospital and has the kids take finger paints to his bat, and then he hits a home run with the bat. What a great story. We'll get into that with Randy Carricker at 8:35. Check in with Union Station, see all the things that's going on over there at Union Station. Then, of course, phone calls and text messages.
They have a roller coaster now.
In the 9 o'clock hour. Where's the roller coaster? Permanent? Not permanent.
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm. It's just south of the wheel.
Really? Mm-hmm. In that vacant land over there?
Yeah.
I love a good roller coaster.
This is a kiddie roller coaster.
Yeah, okay.
It's 22 feet high.
Okay, all right. So there you go. And then, of course, you've had the heat and the humidity of this weekend. Man, it was brutal all weekend long. Let me give sisters were in town, so I spent the weekend, getting yelled at by my sisters for something, or I didn't pick up enough socks. Or it's amazing when your family gets together, you just revert back to the pecking order, right? Of the two of them are sitting there and they're just railing on me. You need to do this and you need to do that and you need to be here and that and you need to. And I was like, it is amazing how I get up in the morning without you two people here. It's just amazing.
It really reminds me of that commercial or whatever. She's like, expired, right? She's just going through your icebox and like, right? You've got hands.
God love my sister. So we're having a little birthday get together for Emerson over the weekend, okay? So Saturday morning, of course, right? You need some beer and some soda. Sure. And so I get the beer and the soda and the cooler and the ice. And so my sister says, can I help? And I said, oh, yeah. So I was like, take these 3 or 4 cans of soda and put those in the cooler with the rest of the sodas, and then I'll put the ice on top of it. So I have the 2 bags of ice. I don't have any more hands. Take these 3 cans that I'm trying to hold and go see that cooler over there. Go put it in that cooler, and then I will then put the ice in.
Sure.
It's a task that should take exactly 15 seconds.
And well-designed and well thought out.
Right?
An hour later.
She starts to organize and alphabetize the beer and the wine and the soda in the thing. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, well, people need to know what's in here. So she starts standing them up and, like little toy soldiers. And then the beer's got to go over here and the diets can go over here. And then the cherries can go over here. I was like, what are you doing? She's like, this was a 6-second task. 5-10 minutes later, you're still arranging the sodas. Well, people need to know what's in here. I'm like, just get out of the way. It's like, what are you doing? That's so you, just to throw things together, and then no one even knows what's in here.
It is easier to find that way, though. If you're looking for a water,
I know, but it's God love them, right? Of course, it's meaningless. but it's just hilarious that she's sitting there, playing the big sister role. I'm just helping. You told me to help. Lainey came over. The nanny came over. Everybody had a nice time. It was a good time was had by all. So,
are they still there? Or they go home?
No, they're still there. No,
they're look on his face.
They're not going anywhere. They're like fish, 3 relatives and fish. After 3 days, they start to smell. You know what I'm saying?
They're not up yet, are they?
They're here.
Yeah, right.
They're here another 4 days, 12 hours, 16 minutes, and 19 seconds. And after that, I get my house back. But otherwise, it's just fine.
That's great.
All right, what else we got going on? Nothing. You went to go see John Waite.
I did.
How was it?
He's older.
Yes.
But he still sounds good.
Yes.
And the songs were at a slower tempo than the record.
Okay.
But he was having fun. John Carney told me a story before I left. He doesn't like it when other people say other things about other bands because Cheap Trick was in town opening up for Rod Stewart, and Cheap Trick was at the Fox opening up for John Waite, and somebody yelled, "Get Cheap Trick back on," and John Waite did not care for that and left stage. The guitarist from Matchbox 20 was the guitarist for John Waite. Mm-hmm. And so John's introducing the band. He goes, "This is Kyle Cook from Matchbox 20." And somebody yelled up, "Play 3 a.m." And John Waite stopped and pointed at his name on the marquee behind him and said, "See that? That's whose songs we're playing tonight."
Wow. But you met him, though.
I did. I met him afterwards.
And you brought up the story that he was here in studio.
Yes. And he said, "I want to thank you, McGraw, and me for being in local radio."
But he had no recollection of. I mean, he might remember the tour he did or something.
Yes, he remembered that tour, and he's like, I want to thank you guys for being in local radio because local radio is the heart.
I love the guy. He's just a good dude. Just a good dude. And
he was very nice. He signed. There were people waiting backstage or outside by stage door.
Yeah.
And they were on their way to another gig, and he signed stuff, and he took pictures, and he was very nice.
I love the guy. He's got great music, and he's kind of, he's still
sounds good.
Still touring after all these years, not for any money. He's doing it for the love of the gig. So God love him.
And that was a charity gig too. Their tour was supposed to be over, but they did this one for charity because it was for the kids.
Right? I mean, it's just John Waite's got some great tunes out there. It's good to hear. All right, good. All right, 6:15 here, Big 550 KTRS. Rose, you do anything this week? We'll get to Rose.
It's traffic.
So never mind, Rose. Rose didn't do anything anyway. Don't worry about it. Captain Paul, St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center. Good morning, Captain Paul.
Good morning, McGraw. We have no accidents or slowdowns on the roads right now. The signals are on flash, though, at 70 and 94 in St. Charles, also at Lindbergh and St. Jean in Florissant. And clocking your commute, it's a 10-minute ride from 255 at the Jefferson Barracks Bridge to 44, 9 minutes from 5570 in Collinsville to downtown St. Louis, and a long 18-minute ride from 44 and 141 to 55. This traffic report is brought to you by Fielder Electric. See what everyone is saying about the pros at Fielder Electric. Whether it's a new build or a 100-year-old home, Fielder Electric has you covered. From the KTRS St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
From the Woods Basement Systems Weather Desk, local experts for basement waterproofing, foundation repair, crawl space repair, and more. WoodsBasementSystems.com.
Monday, mostly sunny, hot, and humid, a high of 97 degrees, and a 20% chance for some spotty afternoon showers and thunderstorms. Those will fizzle out Monday evening. We'll drop to 78 overnight. And then for Tuesday, mostly sunny, another hot and humid day with a high of 95, and a 40% chance of rain and storms that will continue into Tuesday evening when a cold front moves through the area and finally brings an end to the current heat wave. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Kristen Cornett for the Big 550 KTRS.
All right, that's 6:17 here. Let's talk Country Club Car Wash because it has been hazy, hot, humid, dusty, nasty, gnarly. The car probably looks pretty bad right about now. Country Club Car Wash is your goal this week. Country Club Car Wash is a locally owned car wash. If it doesn't say country, It ain't Country Club Car Wash. There isn't a car wash with a similar name that's getting all sorts of bad press, and a lot of people are thinking that it's Country Club Car Wash. It's not. Country Club Car Wash is the other one. Country Club Car Wash is owned by a local family. They've got 5 area locations. They're all attached to Mobile on the Runs. They're all great run. They're all longer. They're cleaner. They got conveyor belts. They've got whether they got kids working there cleaning the cars, or you can do it yourself, or you can just take the pass through and just get the outside cleaned. Buy a monthly pass, pay for it once, and get unlimited car washes all month long. That's what I do. I love it. They're out in Chesterfield Airport Road, or Chesterfield Mall, or Chesterfield Valley, I should say. Mid-Rivers Mall Drive, Mexico Road, and Youngerman. That's 3. There's one on Highway K and Highway N, and then one out in Wentzville. Again, all attached to Mobile on the Runs. Make sure it says country, because if it doesn't say country, it ain't Country Club Car Wash and it ain't local. CCCWSTL.com.
It's the Big Sports Show with Sports Director Brendan Lisi. Weeknights 7 to 9 on the Talk of St. Louis. The Big 550. KTRS.
Diana from Newsteaders Fine Jewelers here to remind you, we don't just offer the best pieces, we offer one of the last master hand engravers in our country. My father can create timeless, personal, and unforgettable pieces. Come by our showroom at the corner of Big Ben and Doherty Ferry, or learn more online at wowdiamonds.com.
Is it time to make a change with your bank? Hi, it's Julie Buck for Triad Bank. They are a full-service financial institution with 2 locations, and they've been around since 2005 with a mission to provide a wide range of commercial and personal banking services. Here's their website. It's triadbanking.com.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is, who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation, 314-569-1050. And have a banner day.
It's Julie Buck here to tell you that the patio is open at Bishop's Post right next to Chesterfield Mall. Get your reservations in now and go to Bishop's Post. You will love it. Tell them Julie Buck sent you, bishopspost.com.
I'm Farmer Dave, and here's my good friend and owner of MasterCars Inc., Alex Rosenberger, with today's hot MasterCars Inc. deals.
Thanks, Farmer Dave. Summer may be winding down, but that means the great weather is moving in. Time to get the convertibles, motorcycles, and sports cars out. We're selling them at a brisk pace. As a result, we need to buy even more of them. You have a very clean, classic, collectible, convertible, sports car, or even an everyday car you want to sell. How about an entire collection? We'll buy it all. And if we're buying them, of course, we sell them too. Check out our site for some of the finest hand-picked vehicles for sale in the country. Ours are that good. Give us a look. It'll be worth your time.
So rev that motor and point your car in the direction of MasterCars Inc. and buy or sell today. 4100 Namioki Road in Granite City, or visit MasterCarsInc.com to get more details. That's MasterCarsInc.com.
Make a splash this summer with Dogtown Pizza. The weather and the pizza ovens are heating up, so stock up on 12 different flavors of your favorite Dogtown. Why cook hamburgers on the grill when you can get a hamburger pizza? Hot chicken, the SOB and For Me, and from the garden, tomato, basil, garlic, and the veggie. Make your next pool party a pizza party with 12 different flavors of Dogtown. One for every swimmer in your house. Make it a Dogtown summer at every local grocery store and dogtownpizza.com.
This is Mariah, 3rd generation at Newsteaders Fine Jewelry. Buying an engagement ring can be intimidating. At Newsteaders, we ensure complete understanding of your purchase. We offer a choice in both lab and mine-grown diamonds and are able to work with any budget. Let our family help educate you on your choice at Big Ben and Doherty Ferry or at wowdiamonds.com.
McGraw Millhaven on KTRS.
6:22 here, Big 550, KTRS. Cardinals, tough weekend with the Yankees in town. Lose all three. It was hazy, it was hot, it was humid, it was nasty. But the catcher, Pozo, who I actually like, I like watching him. The Venezuelan kid who's got a great story of at one point living in his car in the minor leagues and he's got a sick kid who suffers from tremors and. From that to being, playing catcher for the St. Louis Cardinals in just a couple of, short months and years, it's an amazing story. But yesterday, he visits the kids in Mercy hospitals. Kids doing better, but still always have some issues. And he goes and he visits the kids at Mercy Hospital, and it's sort of murky. I saw Frank Cusimano on Channel 5, and then I read the stories. He either went all Babe Ruth and said, I guarantee you a home run, or promised a home run, or some kid said, will you hit a home run for me? And he said, I'll do my best. So we're somewhere, I don't know if the legend grows from there or not, but the bat he used, they had taken the bat and took hand paint and put their hands all over his bat. So he's got paint from the kid's hands, right? From finger paint.
Is that legal?
On his bat.
Right.
Well, that's one of the questions I have. I can't believe Major League Baseball hasn't got their nose into this thing. Oh, you're not supposed to do that. It's only 14 inches from the from the circumference of the center of gravity of the bat, and therefore it's an illegal bat. I'm waiting for somebody from Major League Baseball to pull that card.
Don't worry, they still lost.
And he's got a picture of his kid on the knob of the bat.
Aww.
Now, I'm sure that's legal because that's not on the hitting surface.
Yeah, who knows, right? But and then the guy hits a home run with the bat. I mean, come on, man, that's fantastic. What a great story.
Did you see the attendance?
Was it under 20?
No. Even Sunday it was 25-3.
Okay.
And then Saturday, which was a national game,
yes,
that was on Fox. That was 33-8. And then Friday, which was on Channel 4, was 31-1.
Okay, those are tickets sold, though.
What is Bush, 40?
45?
Oh, 45.
46?
Ish, yeah.
Yeah. But those are tickets sold.
But I will say, it looked good. It looked full-ish on TV. It looked better than it did that day game.
God love these people who go to these games. I can't do it.
The weather was awful.
Oh, the weather was just horrific. But it's still better than the Busch Stadium too, where the lower level was metal and it's basically a frying pan.
And the concrete kept it in.
You were sitting in a frying pan watching a baseball game with the artificial turf on metal, watching the game, and you draw $3 million. I mean, how do they did that? I have no idea. I mean, literally, you're sitting.
You're right.
You're sitting in a frying pan.
In the 80s, the teams were good
with artificial turf. How? I mean. Just give me a little olive oil and garlic, and you got yourself a great little meal going. I mean, it's just nuts.
Although I still prefer Old Bush to New
you?
Bush. The food's better. The hot dogs are better, and the nachos were cheesier.
I can't tell the difference. And then the hamburgers, the hot dogs are. I don't know. I only go to Stewart's hot dog place now. That's the only place I go to.
They couldn't take credit cards.
I watched the ESPN game last night. The Mets were playing the Seattle Mariners at the Little League Park in Pennsylvania. And I've got to tell you, it was kind of fun to watch. They had the players, there's a hill in the center field where they take the cardboard box and they slide down the hill. So the players were taking the cardboard box and sliding down the hill. And they had all the Little League kids in the stands, right, which I thought it was really kind of nice. It was sort of like take me back to the, Little League World Series meets MLB. It was actually kind of sweet.
Did you play in the Little League World Series?
No.
Like, did you play club? Did they do select baseball?
There's Little League is not, everybody played Little League, but Little League is its own thing as well.
Okay.
So Little League is like a trademark name. It's a league.
Oh, okay.
It's a league.
So it's like it's select, right? You have to try out and everything. I mean, it's not just like anybody who wants to play.
I think I played on a team at one point that we got to some regionals, but they kept telling us that if we kept on winning, ultimately we would have wound up in the Little League World Series.
Okay.
But I don't know that to be true. We didn't have the Little League logos on us. It was I don't know.
Do they have like club baseball? Like I'm asking, like
But
for
yes,
volleyball, we had
that was before Select was Select. But yes, you had to try. It was
they did.
It was a quote unquote summer league team,
right?
Where you had to try out, and then it was they called it travel teams back in the day.
That's okay. Yeah,
it was a travel team where you would travel, and I played on like 2 of those.
Okay, that wasn't necessarily required in order for you to play collegiate.
No, it was totally. It was just a way to keep us off the streets, so to speak.
Well, whereas with like volleyball and soccer, if you're not on a club team,
now it's a whole new universe deal.
Wait, scouts don't come to high school games anymore for college?
No,
maybe for boys.
Well, scouts came to our game for college.
I guess for us that's
and professional scouts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But look, it's, and I've had this argument round and round with 1,000 different people, and I get that you need good competition and you need to travel for this and that, and you need a showcase the kids who the scouts can't and the college coaches can't go to every high school gym in every town in America. I get all that. But there needs to be a happy medium between spending $300,000 on your kid to drive all across the world to play volleyball in Seattle one weekend and then Texas the next weekend and then Alabama the following weekend. It's just ridiculous.
Pretty much.
So I mean, there's a give and a take, and it has become a moneymaker. For these coaches and leagues and everything else,
but
right?
If you're good, aren't they going to find you anyway?
Well, that's the other argument is
not for girls. I mean, not to be all, but like boys are more, but girls, yeah. Like if you weren't on a club team, you weren't getting noticed at all.
No,
Like you were
certainly certainly understandable.
I believe that.
Certainly understandable, and that's why those showcases make sense.
Sure.
But then they sort of prey on you a little bit. If you're not on a club team, you'll never be noticed.
Oh yeah, like
Which costs money.
But if you went to the camp, right? If
the school that you're going to,
right? You could be noticed that way.
Maybe, but also you already came in knowing that you were not on a club team, so they almost wouldn't even. I mean, it was a weird cult kind of thing. Like if you were already going into your high school tryouts,
right,
without any type of like of club experience or whatever, regardless of
yes, but if there was a kid who was really good and on the club team, they would find a place to play.
Oh yeah.
They would find a place to
play.
play.
Or they'd ask him to join the club.
They would figure out a way to find a kid to play. They would. Yes, they would.
Yes.
So ultimately, it's an meritocracy. And if there were 6 kids on a select team and 1 kid who wasn't, and the 1 kid was better, they'd take the 1 kid who wasn't on a select team, who was better. Now, the argument is that you're on a select team, so you're playing against better competition, and you're playing more, so therefore you're better. Okay, yes.
And that's technically where you're learning the most, is on the off season as opposed to.
But we all know that the first draft pick in the NFL isn't always the best player. It turns out to be the best player, right? So, Albert Pujols was the 13th round pick. He was pick number, 320. There are 320 people who were picked before him who somebody, the experts, thought was better, who were on select teams. If you had Albert Pujols there or a guy on a select team, who would you pick? Pick Albert.
Right. Well, and like Michael Jordan didn't play select or anything, right? Didn't he get cut the first, in high school?
Exactly.
JV.
Yeah. 631 here, Big 550 KTRS. St. Louis Plaza Company Traffic Center. Here is Captain Paul Kopsky.
McGraw, no accidents or slowdowns on the roads right now, but we do have some signal issues. The signals are on red flash at 70 and 94 in St. Charles and at Lindbergh and St. Jean in Florissant. And clocking your commute, it's a 10-minute drive from 255 at the Jefferson Barracks Bridge to 44. It takes 9 minutes to go from 5570 in Collinsville to downtown St. Louis, and 18 minutes from 44 and 141 to 55. This traffic report is brought to you by Neighbors Credit Union. If you're ready to upsize, downsize, or first-time home buy, turn to the team at Neighbors Credit Union. At Neighbors Credit Union, you'll find great rates, expert advice, and personalized friendly service throughout the entire home loan process and beyond. That's just what you'd expect from a great neighbor. Apply online today at neighborscu.org. From the KTRS St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
Weather for the next couple of days. Believe it or not, we finally, after 2 months, finally get a break in all of this. If you can make it through today, there's another heat advisory today, high of 96, hazy, hot, and humid. Maybe a pop-up thunderstorm later this afternoon and or tonight, low of 76 tonight. Tomorrow, high of 90. And then Wednesday, 86, Thursday, 83, and Friday, 85. So make it through today and tomorrow, and the back half of this week looks pretty good. Right now, it's 78 down at the Arch at 6:33. Let's go to the newsroom. Here's Rose Dalton.
Hurricane Erin pelted parts of the Caribbean and was forecast to create dangerous surf and rip currents along the U.S. East Coast this week. It intensified to a Category 4 storm with 130-mile-per-hour winds and early this morning edged closer to the southeast Bahamas. Texas Republicans will resume pushing through U.S. House maps that would carve out a bigger GOP advantage in the 2026 elections after state Democrats indicated they were ready to end a 2-week walkout. California Democrats are also moving ahead with their own reshaping of congressional districts to counteract Texas. In local headlines, 2 recipients have been selected for sports wagering direct mobile licenses in Missouri. The Missouri Gaming Commission announced that it has selected DraftKings and Circa Hospitality for the licenses. St. Louis Mayor Kara Spencer has a new chief of staff. Spencer appointed her policy director, Casey Milberg, to the position as part of a restructuring at City Hall. 78 degrees. Time now is 6:34. I'm Rose Dalton, KTRS News.
Hi, it's Frank Cusimano inviting you to join me for the Press Box, brought to you by Control Option, Monday through Thursday at 6 p.m. We're going to interview some of the biggest names in sports and have our opening monologue. That's the Press Box, brought to you by Control Option, Monday through Thursday at 6 p.m. right here on the Big 550 KTRS, the talk of St. Louis.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, D-R-U-R-Y, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Live from Studio 550, this is The McGraw Show on KTRS.
$6:36 here, Big 550 KTRS from the Country Club Car Wash text line. Sorry, McGraw, when you start talking baseball, I have to turn you off. It is the most boring sport there is by far. I like a sport that's exciting, not one that puts me to sleep. Well, if you are put to sleep by a father who hits a home run for his son and his son's friends who are in the hospital battling life-threatening ailments, well, then go find something else more entertaining. 6:36 here, Big 550 KTRS. Let's check in with Stephen Portnoy, ABC News. Stephen Portnoy, more states are now sending troops and National Guard members to Washington, D.C.?
Yeah, West Virginia is one that is actively sending National Guard troops, a few hundred, and there are offers on the table from Ohio and South Carolina, Republican-led states. Look, this joins roughly 800-plus National Guard troops who are based here in Washington, D.C., who've been activated by the president. The big question is, what are they doing? You're going to see pictures of armored vehicles along the National Mall in front of the Lincoln Memorial, the Washington Monument, high-traffic tourist areas that are, relatively speaking, low-crime areas in the city compared to other more dangerous high-crime areas in the city. What are they doing? Well, they're standing there. They're providing some measure of visible deterrence, content for television cameras to be seen in St. Louis and other parts of the country as a demonstration of what the president can do. Oh, and not just television cameras here at home, but cameras all over the world to see what's going on in the capital of the United States.
Yeah, it's interesting. Are they carrying any type of ammunition or guns?
At the moment, our understanding is no, but they may. But what's the mission? There's not much clarity there. The National Guard can do a number of things. These people train to control civil disturbances, riots, like we saw in this city about 4.5 years ago, when the president said we're going to march peacefully to the Capitol, and his supporters overtook it, ransacked it. The National Guard was not positioned to prevent that. But now we have the National Guard on that same National Mall, where everything is peaceful. This is a crime-ridden city. I'm not going to lie about that. I'm not going to distort it. There are violent crimes that occur in this city, as they do in St. Louis, and in every other city in the United States, which is a violent place relative to other countries in the world. But what's unusual or special about it? That's the question. The president says, because he can, that it's time to do something, so he is. On Friday, there was a federal court hearing here in Washington on the president's assertion of control over the D.C. police. You know, he issued that emergency order a week ago today, and the attorney general tried to assert that the police chief had to stand aside and be sort of, overtaken by a federal minder, the DEA administrator who would serve as an emergency police commissioner. The federal judge who presided over the lawsuit and the temporary restraining order hearing on Friday said, that's not how I read the law. The law says that the president can request or demand services of the police through the mayor, and the mayor shall provide those services for federal purposes. How can you read that to mean that the D.C. police chief is all of a sudden ousted or sidelined? And so she ordered the two sides to go into a room and work that out so she didn't have to issue an order. And now the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, has stepped back and acknowledged that the D.C. police still report up to Chief Pamela Smith.
Real quick, West Virginia, were they asked to send troops? Did they send troops voluntarily? And what was that decision like?
You know, the announcement I see here is simply that they are sending about 300 troops. West Virginia is pretty close to D.C. You know, there's Northern Virginia in between, about 2.5 hours away. And so the governor there is sending the troops. You have the offers on the table from the other states, Ohio and South Carolina. It would be understandable if for a need, if it was where there were a clear mission that were articulated. We don't really know exactly what the plan is for the National Guard, except to say that they're out there.
Yeah. It sounds like they don't know what it is either. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, national correspondent. Thanks, Stephen. Have a good day.
You bet.
I would think the first question somebody from West Virginia would ask is crime so low in West Virginia that our National Guard has nothing else to do, so we're going to send them to Washington, D.C.? I mean, imagine if Mike Keogh, we hear this week that Mike Keogh is sending National Guard troops to Washington, D.C. to quell their violence. I mean, all you need to do is watch the local news to see the violence here in town and say, well, don't send them to Washington, D.C., send them to St. Louis. Send them to Kansas. Send them to where the crime is in their home state, you would think. Why are you sending resources to Washington, D.C.? They should be used in the state in which the National Guard is in. Strange. 641 here at Big 550. KTRS, Boardwalk Hardwood Floors. You know, Boardwalk Hardwood Floors has been a longtime sponsor of the show, and I've used them numerous times for all sorts of reasons. They have hardwood floors, and they contract with all of the lumber yards and all the manufacturing plants all across North America. And they're having their half-price sale going on right now. It's their annual warehouse sale where you can get up to half off on their flooring. Save big now through the end of September. It's starting now. They're getting early because it's so hot outside. This is perfect for new flooring. Anyone who needs new flooring, you can save up to 25% off special orders and up to 50% off inventory and factory specials. Now, this is where the good stuff is. This inventory and factory specials, these are end of the runs where they're not going to make any more of a certain color, a certain style, a certain type. And so you get them at drastically reduced prices. You get limited qualities. You need a little bit, you need a lot. One time, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 square feet, right? You can get some serious deals. Their showrooms are filled with options to fit any style and any budget. From timeless classics to modern designs to everything in between. You need hardwood floors or any type of hardwood floors, visit boardwalkhardwood.com. How long have they been doing this? 25 years they've been doing it. They are your trusted local family-owned quality flooring provider. And in terms of installation, they'll teach you how to do it yourself, or they'll find someone to do it for you. Either way, you're saving big bucks, no whammies. Boardwalk Hardwood Floors, 4 area locations. To find the one nearest you, boardwalkhardwood.com.
Gingham's Homestyle Restaurant has been a staple in St. Charles for 35 years. Our comfortable, casual atmosphere offers some of the best comfort food you've ever had. Customers might know our delicious breakfast, but you can have whatever you want, anytime you want, with our full menu 24 hours a day. Nothing warms your heart like Gingham's famous vegetable soup, and we can cater your event, too. If you like homestyle food and great friendly service, you'll love Gingham's Restaurant in St. Charles. 636-946-0266 or ginghamsrestaurant.com.
Now open. The owners of the Irish Gypsy Bar and Grill's newest endeavor, What's in the Box Lunches, located at 40 Worthington Access Drive in Maryland Heights. It's just a minute away from Westport Plaza. Grab breakfast, lunch, or pre-order catered box lunches for your next corporate event. Featuring breakfast and lunch items all day. Open Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. for dine-in or carry-out. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
Do you have a high school or college student heading back to school this month? Now is the perfect time to visit New Balance St. Louis. We stock a wide variety of shoes that look and feel great. Our Fit Pros will help your family find the perfect pair of shoes for you. Excellent customer service, selection, style, and sizes are what you'll find at New Balance St. Louis. Shop local. Shop New Balance St. Louis with 2 locations in Creve Coeur and Richmond Heights. Nationally known, locally owned.
I'm Mike Robinson with Robank Properties. I want to buy your home. Any property, any condition, and always as is. I will pay top dollar with no contingencies and no inspections. You walk away with cash. So don't waste time and money making repairs and paying real estate commissions. Call me, Mike Robinson, at 314-283-0867. That's 314-283-0867. Or go to robankproperties.com. That's ROBANG properties.com.
St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center here, once again, is Captain Paul Kopsky.
McGraw, 4-car crash on westbound 270 at 170 is blocking 3 lanes with only 1 lane getting through, and traffic is stop and go back to New Florissant. The signals are on red flash at 70 and 94 in St. Charles, and at Lindbergh and St. Jean in Florissant. And clocking your commute, right now it's a 10-minute ride from 255 at the Jefferson Barracks Bridge to 44, 9 minutes from 5570 in Collinsville to downtown St. Louis, and it takes 18 minutes to drive from 44 at 141 to 55. From the KTRS St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
From the Woods Basement Systems Weather Desk, local experts for basement waterproofing, foundation repair, crawl space repair, and more. WoodsBasementSystems.com.
Big weather changes coming later this week, but for now we are still stuck on hot. A heat advisory today up to 97 this afternoon. Top heat index about 106. Some isolated storms possible today. Very limited in coverage, but lightning, brief downpours, and some gusty winds if you get caught under one. Down to 76 tonight. A storm or two still kicking around, and then still steamy Tuesday. 94 with a heat index of 103, but scattered rain and storms tomorrow signal that the cooler air is starting to move in. Highs will be in the mid-80s Wednesday. That is more like it. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers on the Big 550 KTRS.
Hey, let's talk outdoor living. Outdoor Living is Pat Leahy and the gang over there. We're going to lunch tomorrow to check in and see how things are going. But last time I talked with them, the phones were good. People were putting decks in, and you got to call a company you can trust, and that's Outdoor Living. With all the new construction going on out there, a lot of decks. But look, here's the deal. You probably have a wooden deck out there, and the beating of this sun that these decks take. And when they took out, well, let's just put it this way. Some of these decks are better built than others, and some get warped, some get sort of rotted, and you got to sort of the weeds start popping up through it. You can do better. At Outdoor Living, they use metal framing that will not bow, won't warp, it won't rot. You don't have to stain it every year. They'll wrap it in composite decking, and you'll get a deck that will look great and will stand the test of time. These St. Louis summers bake on some of these decks, and that's why they get warped. There's no amount of wood that will be able to sustain summer after summer after summer. And that's why Outdoor Living goes to these metal framings. And they've seen tremendous results. And they want to do it, and they want to do it right because they stand behind all of their work, and that's why they've been so successful all these years. Longtime sponsor of the show. So if you've got a deck or a fence or a gazebo or a roof or a porch or something in your future, you want to go where you should to make sure it's done right. That's Big Bend and I-44 in Kirkwood. You can see it from the interstate there. 314-966-3325, Outdoor Living, or OutdoorLivingInc.com.
Greetings. I'm Camille Reinhold with Happy Brain Counseling in Kirkwood, Missouri. Please tune in to our show monthly. On Sundays, please check us out at happy-brain.com.
Happy Brain, now monthly Sunday 5 to 6. For show schedule, go to ktrs.com.
At Midland, we know sometimes all it takes is a moment for an idea to spark, or to make it happen, a moment to find your dream, or build one, a moment to start your forever, or at least start planning for it. Whatever moments you have, Midland is here for them and can help you make them. Midland, brighter together. Visit us at midlandsb.com. Midland States Bank is member FDIC.
Hey, it's Heidi Glaus, and I've got your ticket to something big happening here in St. Louis. TEDx St. Louis is celebrating a major milestone. Its 25th event, and it's happening Friday, September 5th at Two Hill Performing Arts Center. This is the TEDx St. Louis Women event, spotlighting bold, brilliant women who are shaping the future in real, tangible ways. We're talking innovation, technology, transportation, infrastructure, the arts, and more. Now, these aren't just inspiring stories. They're powerful ideas meant to spark change. And here's the deal. There are just weeks left to get your tickets. Whether you're looking for the full supporter experience with early access and all the extras, or you just want a spark of inspiration, there's a seat for you. Head to TEDxStLouis.org to grab your tickets today and become part of what's next. That's TEDxStLouis.org, SAINT, Louis.org.
At K. Zander Jewelry, our theme is Discover the Magic. We've offered fine diamonds, gems, and help in restoring vintage mountings for 50 years. But this Christmas won't hold that magic for the families affected by this spring's devastating tornado. Kimberly Zander joins KTRS Radio and the Salvation Army for Christmas in July. Please bring new, unwrapped toys to help fill the box at our store in St. Charles. In a normal year, the Salvation Army serves 6,500 families, but the need is much greater this year. Please help the kids. Thanks. From K. Zander Jewelry.
Galmish & Sons have been providing quality heating and cooling services since 1950. They work exclusively with Lennox, the preferred choice of St. Louis homeowners. Call Galmish & Sons for your next Lennox HVAC installation and service. 314-993-1110.
Inland Marine Boats in Barnhart has been serving your boating needs for 38 years. Hi, I'm Ryan at Inland Marine, your Mercury Marine dealer. Remember, you only get 18 summers with your kids. Make the most of them with a boat. InlandMarineBoats.com.
Beauty in Forest Park. Jersey Boys, the story of Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, closes the Muni season in style through August 24th. Sponsored by Commerce Bank and Commerce Trust. For tickets, visit muni.org.
McGraw, live in the morning on KTRS.
It's 6:52 here, Big 550 KTRS. Little Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons debuts tonight at the Muni. Listen to this from the Hollywood Reporter. Let's talk about ratings. And if you ever want to get somebody in radio really ranting and raving, just start talking about ratings. But we're not talking about radio and television ratings. We're talking about podcast ratings and streaming ratings. From the Hollywood Reporter. The top podcast metrics cannot be trusted. There is a sense in the industry that the chart rankings are swayed by sudden influxes of subscribers rather than total audience. Spotify's top podcast chart is updated daily. Apple, meanwhile, says charts are updated throughout the day based on listening. Meanwhile, YouTube, which is the most popular podcasting platform, launched its own top podcast charts in May that shows weekly watch times. Each podcast has its own first-party data that agents can use along with other metrics to help sell the show. But across the platforms, the definitions of downloads, listeners, or views can also differ, making it difficult to assess how popular a podcast actually is, which I've said all along. You ask somebody, oh, you've got 16 million views. Is that one person watching it 16 million times, or is that 16 million people watching it for a second and a half? And they go, well, no, what that means is, and they just go into this rabbit hole, okay? And no one can answer the question. The fixation on, this is from the Hollywood Reporter, a fixation on the current metrics has also led to a cottage industry of companies that allow podcasters to buy a certain number of downloads or followers. Asked how commonly this is used, Dan Meisner, co-founder of the podcast marketing firm Bumper, says he's seen it happen a lot, particularly for podcasters looking to rank on the Apple charts. The deeper problems within our industry around measurement is the yardstick is broken. The de facto currency that podcasting uses sets up some really perverse incentives such that people chase downloads or followers. You pay people in Micronesia to sit there in a laptop and just keep hitting the button so that you get clicks. And that's what you do. And all of a sudden, you're the hottest podcast in the world. Meanwhile, 6 people in Malaysia have been just hitting refresh the whole time.
Can we do that?
Do you believe that $1 million decisions are made on these numbers? It's hilarious. Oh, I'm going to go to. I got to go digital. Really, you got to go digital? Well, because it has like 18 million hits. Well, who cares? It's all bogus. There's none of it's real, but yet we somehow. It's a number on a page. It's got to be real.
Do you believe that 1.3 million people watched the Kelsey Brothers with Taylor Swift last week?
No, I don't. 1.3 million people, or one person watched it 1.3 million times, or 50,000 Swifties watched it 1 million times. And how long did they watch an hour and a half podcast? Right? I don't. I mean, I'm sure it was
crashed YouTube.
I'm sure it was popular. But do I think K-pop Demon Hunters is somehow 18 billion streams and go? No, I don't. I'm sorry. I just don't. I don't buy it. And then it feeds on itself. Then all of a sudden you're like, this K-pop, and I'm guilty of it too. Oh, you see K-pop Demons, number one. Oh, really? What is it? Click. What? And all of a sudden, then it feeds on itself, right? So you create the false narrative, and the false narrative then folds back onto itself, and then people are like, what's everyone watching? Boom, and then all of a sudden the numbers like really go up. The whole thing is. Downloads, going back to the Hollywood Report, downloads has been seen as one key industry metric, but those numbers are also wonky to change to Apple's operating systems, continue to navigate impacting the numbers. Shows can also see an unexpected surge or decrease in the downloads as they mitigate the RSS feeds from one hosting platform to another. Additionally, podcasts are increasingly consumed via video. Viewers are becoming more important, while video episodes on Spotify and YouTube do not count towards downloads. Again, all of it's not apples to apples. It's as confusing as radio. I've been in radio 30 years. I still can't exactly figure out the rating system. And every time an advertiser calls up and the ad buyer says, can we see your rankings? Can we see your demographics? It's like,
why?
If you knew how bogus they were or how stupid you sound, you're asking for something you have no idea. I've been in this business 30 years. I don't know what they say. So, by golly, podcasting numbers, and whether it's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, you name the streaming service, they've all been busted for inflating numbers. So it's all bogus. All of it is bogus. And I get it. These ad agencies, They want to sell it to their average. They want to sell it to their clients. Right? Oh, we're going to buy Facebook because Facebook has 8.2 billion impressions. They don't know what that means. It's all impressions. Oh, exactly. Interesting impressions. No one knows really what does an impression mean. I'm impressed. I've been impressed that you're an idiot. That's what I've been impressed by.
This is a good time to remind everyone that we are currently on YouTube and Facebook.
Yeah, and it says here we have 6.7 million people watching right this second.
That's impressions.
And then what was the thing that Arbitron did? You only got credit if you listened for 5 minutes, and then they reduced it to 3 minutes or 2 minutes or something?
Because songs, because of TikTok, are now down to 3-minute songs.
Right, okay. So again, you get credit for listening for 15 minutes if you watch listen for 5. But now you get credit for 15 minutes if you listen for 3. Okay.
Why can't they just put something in cars that tracks what everybody, you know what I mean? Like
the NSA tracks everything we say and do. Why can't they just do that?
Ask the government. They know. Or actually, ask the Chinese.
Everything is bogus. It's all bogus. Even newspaper subs. Oh, we sell 50,000 newspapers, but 6.7 people read each. On average, read each issue, so therefore it's really 300. It's all.
They're going to the library?
It's all made up. All of it's made up. It's just none of it's accurate. Or so loosely configured that there's just no bearing in reality. 6:57. You know what's accurate? Captain Paul Kopsky's traffic report in the St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center.
All right, thanks, McGraw. A 4-car crash on westbound 270 at 170 is blocking 3 lanes with only 1 lane getting through, and a bumper-to-bumper backup to Washington Elizabeth. It's also slow back to West Florissant, and northbound 55 is running slow at Bayless. From the KTRS St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
All right, hazy, hot, and humid today. And then hazy, hot, and humid tomorrow. Mid-90s today. We're going to hit 90 tomorrow. And then Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we're going to dial it back. And I heard one of the meteorologists say that cool front's coming in. I don't know if I'd call it a cool front, but this oppressive heat is going to subside on the back end of the week. Right now, it is 73 degrees. 7 o'clock, KTRS St. Louis.
This is the Big 550 KTRS St. Louis.
Live and local.
Depend on it.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Flanked by some of the top leaders in Europe, including the President of France, the Chancellor of Germany, and the Prime Ministers of the UK and Italy, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is headed to the White House. ABC News senior political correspondent Rachel Scott is there.
So Zelensky has been adamant there needs to be a ceasefire before these longer-term negotiations on a peace deal continue. But President Trump has now abandoned that idea. The president does appear to be coming around to one of Zelensky's demands, providing some sort of security guarantees. And on the way to Alaska, the president told me that he would be discussing territorial swaps with the Russian leader, but said ultimately it would be up to Zelensky to decide.
Zelensky has said any agreement on land must be made with Ukraine's input and, again, with ironclad security guarantees so Russia cannot invade again. Up and down the East Coast, they're getting ready for Hurricane Erin, even though the storm is not expected to hit the U.S. shore. The ABC's Victor Oquendo is along North Carolina's Outer Banks.
Erin bringing heavy rain and wind to parts of the Caribbean over the weekend. Its outer bands lashing the Virgin Islands and flooding parts of Puerto Rico, leaving thousands without power. It's bringing dangerous surf from South Carolina to Maine. Waves up to 12 feet expected in some places.
The biggest fear on the mainland is potentially deadly rip currents. Hundreds more soldiers are headed to Washington, D.C. National Guard members called up to help with crime in the nation's capital. The ABC's Mola Lengi's there.
Up to this point, we're told the guardsmen here have been unarmed, but defense officials say that could change if their orders change, if the nature of their mission changes, particularly as the guard footprint is expected to grow throughout the city in the coming days.
West Virginia, Ohio, South Carolina, Virginia expected all send troops to D.C. There were thousands of people marching in Israel on Sunday, hoping to shut down the government as they continue calling for an end to the war and a return of the hostages. This is ABC News.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Look at our alums.
Thousands of stranded airline passengers are still trying to figure out whether Air Canada's service will resume amid the flight attendants' strike.
Air Canada hopes to restart service tonight amid that labor battle with its flight attendants. The union defied an order to return to work yesterday after the government imposed binding arbitration to end the dispute. The move blocked plans for the airline to begin limited service.
Air Canada locked out 10,000 flight attendants on Saturday. Thousands of passengers remain stranded, says ABC's Rhiannon Alley. New York City police are still on the hunt for 4 suspected shooters who opened fire inside a nightclub over the weekend, killing 3, leaving nearly a dozen wounded. ABC's Crystal Cranmore is in Crown Heights, Brooklyn, where it happened.
We are told from detectives that they actually have on surveillance video from inside the lounge 2 of the victims killed in the shooting. They have been identified as 19-year-old Marvin St. Louis and 35-year-old Jamel Childs. We're told that they were involved in a gunfight with each other. Now, a third victim, identified by police as 27-year-old Amadou Diallo, we're told was not involved in this dispute.
New data from Visa and MasterCard shows credit card spending, while growing, isn't rising as fast as it had been. The slowdown coming as Americans have piled up more than $1 trillion in credit card debt. If you do use plastic, perks from those cards getting more expensive. More credit card companies are boosting the annual fees for cards that offer benefits like travel rewards. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Look at our alums, the contributions that they have made throughout industries in the St. Louis region.
Terry Freericks, a graduate of the University of Missouri, St. Louis.
UMSL is embedded in the fabric of the St. Louis community. We're hands-on, and when our students graduate, they are definitely career ready, but maybe more importantly, they're career confident.
More is what moves us. Find your more at more.umsl.edu.
78 degrees at 7:05. Here's what's happening now. An investigation is underway after a woman was shot and killed in her North County home over the weekend. Police say the victim, who has been identified as 64-year-old Sheila Mills, was found shot to death inside her home along the 4400 block of Begg Boulevard in Northwoods on Saturday afternoon. No arrests have been made in the case so far. The NTSB released a preliminary report on the deadly helicopter crash over the Mississippi River near Alton earlier this month. The report said a witness on a towboat reported that the helicopter pilot and lineman, who appeared to be standing on the left skid wearing a safety harness, were trying to attach an orange ball safety marker to one line. On a second attempt, the tail of the helicopter struck the line. A final report is expected to take 1 to 2 years. There's big changes for St. Louis Public School students on this first day of school. About 2,000 students are being relocated to other schools due to the damage of several school buildings from the May 16th tornado. There's also new buses with the transportation company Zoom. Through the new partnership, SLPS has introduced nearly 250 new air-conditioned buses equipped with technology upgrades to enhance student safety and provide parents with real-time tracking capabilities. District officials say the new system aims to reduce late pickups and make the school commute safer and less stressful for students and parents. Clayton City officials have voted to allow short-term rentals, but with heavy restrictions. KTRS's Sobe Bay has the story.
Under the legislation unanimously passed by the Clayton Board of Aldermen, short-term rentals leased through platforms such as Airbnb or VRBO would be allowed only in the city's downtown and would require a specific short-term rental occupancy permit. Stays would have to be 2 days or more, but less than 30 days, and operators would be issued annual permits that could be revoked. Parties and weddings would be banned. Any short-term rentals would be limited to 4 units per building, and only buildings built before 1955 would qualify. Sobe Bay, KTRS News.
This KTRS Business Minute is brought to you by Walter Knoll Florists, the place for all your floral needs. Place your order anytime at WKF.com. 78 degrees. Time now is 7:07. I'm Rose Dalton, KTRS News.
All right, 7:07 here, Big 550 KTRS. Karen Travers back from a well-rested and well-needed vacation. Karen Travers is going to be joining us. What happens now after the Alaska summit? Well, Zelensky and the European leaders head to Washington, D.C. to find out what happened at the meeting and where do they go from here. So that's at 7:35. Karen Travers is going to have the latest. And then Stephen Roberts is going to put this into a political bow on it. What does all of this mean going forward? What type of fallout? What type of what can you expect going forward? Stephen Roberts has got that at 7:50. A little bit later on, we're going to check in with Brian Clark with ABC News. The Texas Democrats are back in Texas, which is good for Republicans because now they can gerrymander the maps. And don't look now, but don't think that's we've been following this somewhat closely because next thing that happens is that's going to come here to Missouri. A lot of people are thinking. Randy Carricker is going to check in with sports. And then, of course, your phone calls and text messages in the 9 o'clock hour. You know, they often say that once you leave school and you become an adult, you no longer make the friends you make later in life like you do when you are younger. Hence one of the greatest lines in one of the greatest movies of all time, Stand By Me, at the end, when he says, you know, you never have friends like you have when you're, right, later on in life like you have when you're 12 years old, right? That's how they end Stand By Me. And it's a wonderful movie on a million different levels. As I'm 58 years old, it's true. It's just true. The friends you had, they get married, they have kids, you check in with them. Maybe you've got a text line during one of the games with them. But, you know, you're not going out on a Friday night anymore because you got kids and soccer and games and a long work week and the wife and the this and the that. Right? I mean, it's just life gets in the way. And so, guys, and there's a huge, a lot of people are calling attention to this. Like there's a huge social gap with men because they're losing their guy friends. And then they lose their guy friends. They lose that sense of community. There's something to be said for just guys hanging out with guys, whether it's playing poker or a guys club or a cigar club or a bowling league or a golf league or whatever. Wall Street Journal last week had a story that the biggest thing going is now sleepaway camps for adults, where overnight camps, you go and you sleep in the bunk and you do your thing and you make friends. The whole concept of this sleepaway camp for adults is you go and you make friends. And the story is about all these people who have these sleepaway camps. Remember when you were a kid and you went to sleepaway camp? That was the best. It was the best. Why don't we do that as adults? And so now they're doing it as adults. Isn't that amazing?
Well, what kind of camp? Like summer camp?
Summer camps.
Like archery and
yes.
Bunk beds and
yes.
fire pits
yes.
and s'mores.
Yes, camp.
Like jamborees.
In all of its glory, camp. Yes.
Love it.
Now, I don't know if they're going to be running a marathon in these camps with, the bad knees and the.
There might be a pool.
There
might be a sauna.
Did you see the movie Indian Summer? It's a movie about they're all old. They went to a camp together, and then Alan Alda is the camp counselor, invites them all back as adults, right? And so that's what I'm envisioning is where they they do all the same.
Yeah, that was sort of like a.
I know it's not the same as that's what I envision it would be like.
Well, that was a reunion.
Yeah, that was like.
But they did all the same stuff. Like they did the run.
What was the movie where Kevin Costner died?
Big Chill.
Big Chill, right? It was Big Chill where they all come back and tell the tale. What happened to everybody's life. This is. You don't have any friends.
You don't know anybody.
You don't know anybody. Maybe you and your girlfriend decide, let's go to Camp Kitchigumi in, Knob Noster, Missouri, because it's a week of canoeing and boating and fishing and s'mores, and let's just go. So you go and you make friends. And oddly enough, on our Altair travel trips, where it's not sleepover camp where people make fun of it, but singles go, and they have made longtime good friends. Where'd you meet? Oh, we met on an Altair travel trip with McGraw. And so they've met on these trips, and they've stayed friends all these years. My sisters, who live in different parts of the country, come back to St. Louis and like check in with friends they've met along the way on these trips. Because, she was wonderful. Oh, we had a great time. And so I'm like, where are you going? Oh, I'm going to meet Sally from the Ireland trip. Really? Oh, yeah. I mean, it's people yearn for friendship. And since you're an adult, you don't have those you don't have those friend opportunities anymore.
Is that due to I'm sure it's due to a lot of stuff, but I mean, is it majority of the people that have families that like had to forego their frat boys because now they're a dad kind of thing?
I'll tell you what it is. Just for men, maybe this is just for me, but I truly believe that in high school and college, you don't really have to work all that hard to find friends.
No.
Because you're all in the same bowl.
Right.
You're all in the same, right? You're all in the same classes, and you know every day you're going to see Billy and Johnny and Susie and Tommy. And so I don't need to, right? Now I'm going to see him at lunch. Oh, I really like hanging out with Bob at lunch. Oh, I really like McGraw. Oh, I need to stay away from Rose. I don't like Rose, right? Once you leave that, or even teammates and stuff, right? The teammates meant the world to me, but you don't see them every day. So as an adult, how many times you say, I'd like to reach out to them. I haven't talked to him in a while. I'm not going to reach out to him. So you lose that connection, and you're not forced to be together with anybody because you have the quote unquote money to go to, vacation on your own. You have, money to go to the movies by yourself. You go eat by yourself. You don't go to a cafeteria and sit at a table by yourself and have other strangers come and sit with you, right? You don't do that anymore. So therefore, you don't have an opportunity to meet friends. And so that whole connection, and so they're finding out, this Wall Street Journal story was finding out that people are yearning for these friends. And so it's like people are going to camp to have the experience, but to make friends. It's fascinating.
I just looked up my summer camp.
Yeah.
In Kirkwood. It's still around. Camp Pagnita just closed for the season.
They should have like an adults version of that. Seriously, what do you think the Elks Club is, and the sewing clubs, and the book clubs, and
like these men's clubs and stuff, right? They're literally just social.
But there are many more women's clubs. The men's clubs, right. They're just fewer and far between. Right?
Night.
Without trying to pour gasoline on the fire, but Boy Scouts now let girls in, and I think that's wonderful. But Boy Scouts, right, where boys could be boys, and boys could make boy noises and be boys, and not worry about, right, and do those types of things. Once all of a sudden you start to invoke girls, then you got to impress the girls, and then you're acting differently. Right. Same with girls, right? Girls' schools,
sure,
very differently. Then start adding boys into the mix, and then it's a different world
every day.
Yeah, so it was a really interesting article about how adults are these adult camps are really starting to take off because these adults are yearning to make friends. Yeah. It was just really kind of interesting. Anyway, Wall Street Journal last week. 7:16 here, Big 550 KTRS. Captain Paul Kopsky in the St. Louis Plaza Company Traffic Center. Take it away.
McGraw, it looks like they've cleared that four-car crash on westbound 270 at 170, and the residual slowdown back to Washington Elizabeth is thinning out quickly. There's a crash with injuries on westbound 5570 between Illinois 203 and Exchange. It's causing a backup to near 111. Northbound 55 is running slow at Bayless where there's road work. Northbound 270 congested from Manchester to 64, and the signals are on red flash at 70 and 94 in St. Charles, and in a few spots along Lindbergh in Florissant. From the KTRS St. Louis Plaza Company Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
From the Woods Basement Systems Weather Desk, local experts for basement waterproofing, foundation repair, crawl space repair, and more. woodsbasementsystems.com.
Monday, mostly sunny, hot, and humid, a high of 97 degrees, and a 20% chance for some spotty afternoon showers and thunderstorms. Those will fizzle out Monday evening. We'll drop to 78 overnight. And then for Tuesday, mostly sunny, another hot and humid day with a high of 95, and a 40% chance of rain and storms that will continue into Tuesday evening when a cold front moves through the area and finally brings an end to the current heat wave. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Kristen Cornett for the Big 550 KTRS.
All right, let's talk about Michael's Baths, because I had a chance to talk with the nanny yesterday, and she was talking about Michael's Baths, and she was talking about all the sponsors she uses on the show, and somebody said, how was Michael's Baths? And she's just gushing over the customer service at Michael's Baths. What do you need to know? You need to know that if you want to redo your bathroom, if that's in your conversation, if that's what you're thinking about, you need to call Michael's Baths, because not only has he been doing this for 30 years, but it's the customer service that sets him apart from everybody else. It's the workmanship. It's the attention to detail. And Michael's Baths, they are so honored that you call them. Even after 30 years, they're so honored, right? They've never taken any of this for granted. And so they're so honored that you would do this. And they understand that you know 70 different people. And if you have a good experience with Michael's Baths, that's their best form of advertising. And so they will do everything humanly possible to make sure you are completely and utterly satisfied. Turn that tub into a walk-in shower, redo the walk-in shower, redo the vanity. What are you thinking about doing? That tile has seen better days. Time to rip all that out and do it again. Michael's Baths use high-end products. They have 30 years of experience, come with a lifetime warranty. All of that wrapped up into a bow, and they'll do it 30 to 50% cheaper than everybody else in town. No gimmicks, no surprises, budget-friendly, and customer service through the roof. Michael's Baths, 636-775-0800 or michaelsbaths.com.
JF Electric Company, Inc. seeks assistant project manager, Edwardsville, Illinois, to manage electrical construction projects. Highly involved with the bid process, often contributing information and recommendations on the bid itself. Proactively assists PMs with managing electrical construction projects from winning the bid to completing the work. Helps establish project objectives and lays out the project plan in accordance with contract specifications. Identifies, applies for, obtains, and maintains all applicable permits as directed by PM. BS or equivalent in engineering or construction management. Ability with prior leadership role. Adhere to a schedule and reliably show up for all scheduled shifts on time. Attention to detail. Computer proficiency. Primavera or ability to learn Primavera within 90 days. Resumes to J. Foster, 200 Lakefront Parkway, Edwardsville, Illinois, 62025.
It's Julie Buck here to tell you that the patio is open at Bishop's Post right next to Chesterfield Mall. Get your reservations in now and go to Bishop's Post. You will love it. Tell them Julie Buck sent you, bishopspost.com.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella Windows specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation, 314-569-1050. And have a banner day.
Hey, it's Heidi Glaus, and I want to remind you to tune in to the Heidi Glaus Show with Bob Ramsey and Josh Gilbert weekdays from 3 to 6. You don't want to miss all the fun. Plus, twice a month, we're joined by Dr. Ravi Johar, the Chief Medical Officer for United Healthcare. Dr. Johar and United Healthcare will keep us informed and educated about everything happening in the healthcare system, plus important facts to keep us healthy. United Healthcare and the Heidi Glaus Show on the Big 550 KTRS.
Hey, it's Julie Buck for our friends at Triad Bank. They are a full-service financial institution, and they've been in St. Louis for over 20 years with 2 locations, one at Clayton and Lindbergh, and the other one just west of 270 on Olive. If you've got your own business and you want to have a better banking experience, look no further than Triad Bank. Their mission is to provide a wide range of commercial and personal banking services to you and your business. For more, go to triadbanking.com.
When kids have a passion, they are going to learn. They're going to retain what we're trying to teach them academically.
A lot of what the Grand Center Arts Academy did was
just like teach me like all the things that I can do in music and like how to be kind of an all-around musician, so I can kind of figure out exactly what I want to do from there.
Confluence Academies and the Grand Center Arts Academy. Discover your pathway at confluenceacademy.org.
McGraw Millhaven on KTRS.
$7:22 here, Big 550 KTRS. It's the dog days of summer. School starts, right, for many this week. Kids are going back to school, orientation, meeting the teachers, right, school supplies, all that stuff. Kids, parents dropping kids off at school for the first time. We talked about this last week, right? This is that time of year. Also, in the last week in the Wall Street Journal, I read with quite a bit of interest the story about the hottest thing going on the internet. I'm very disappointed that you two did not tell me about this, and I had to learn about this from the Wall Street Journal.
K-pop demon hunters.
False.
Okay.
No. You two seem to be all, all up in the hip and happening stuff. No. Have you heard of the hottest craze called Rush Talk? It's not TikTok. It's Rush Talk, which is girls at sororities
rushing
create recruitment videos for girls who want to rush sororities, put them up on TikTok or YouTube, and then create the buzz around their sorority.
Themselves.
That is correct. These things are exploding. They are doing dance routines. They're copying Dallas Cowboy cheerleader dance routines. Look at this. I mean, it is out of like a Hollywood production. They're standing in front of the big old sorority house, and they've got the girls dancing and cheering and portraying sorority life as the greatest thing in the history of mankind, and come one, come all. So they are, quote unquote, it's rushing, right? You have to, I wasn't in a sorority or a fraternity, but you have to, right, promote yourself. The girls then decide who they're going to join, right? Then you offer, and then they select you, right, in some way, shape, or form. And then you get blackballed. Mm-hmm. All I know that is from Animal House. That's all I know. That's my extent of sororities and fraternities. But this Rush Talk is the hottest thing going.
Not in my algorithm, sorry.
Yeah, well, you're not as hip as I am, because I had to read about this in the Wall Street Journal. Apparently, SEC schools are leading the way, as you can imagine. Alabama, the University of Alabama, has become especially popular, creating a subgenre of the phenomenon called Bama Rush, as opposed to Rush Talk. It's this week. Swarms of sorority girls performing Dallas Cowboy cheerleader-style dance routines in front of antebellum mansions. Potential new members scream as they tear open envelopes with bids to the sororities where they might form lifelong friendships. These videos, many of which garner hundreds of thousands of views, have become a kind of reality television on TikTok. When one woman rushed Kappa Kappa Gamma at the University of Oklahoma in 2000, and then it goes on to say that 2018 there was none of this. But 2025, it's a whole new world.
So the schools are putting on these?
The sororities are.
So the sororities are putting on these videos for possible rushies or whatever?
That is correct.
To get them to want to come to their sorority?
Correct.
So now are the pledges also putting on videos to show how their skills and how cool they are? I don't think
so. I don't think so. But as you can imagine, people who aren't necessarily rushing a fraternity at the University of Alabama might want to watch this video. So this video has taken on a life of its own, or these videos have taken on a life of their own.
Just because they're doing dances and stuff?
Well, because they're cute girls in scantily clad outfits dancing. It's
or well dressed,
or it's now a thing. It's now a thing. They're getting millions and millions of views. It's called Rush Talk, and it's. Well, sorority girls take 8 million selfies on their way out the door and then post them all over the world, right? That's the new thing they do. Right? You want take a selfie. Okay, take 700 selfies.
My suite mates were sorority girls. You know, we shared a bathroom.
Yeah.
And they did my makeup one night when we went out.
And?
I went right around the corner into the bathroom and washed it off. I mean, it was fun, you know, having a good time. But I was like, it was an interesting experience because I have no idea.
It's not your world.
No clue about.
Yeah, you didn't. That's not who you are.
Well, plus I played volleyball, so I already had friends. You know what I mean?
No,
Because
I get it.
I used to be like people buying friends, and I was like, okay, that's not fair. Like I had a built-in family because I played sports, and so yeah, kids who don't.
Well, that's
but
not
it's also
fair
the idea
either.
that you're paying. Like, what's the?
Well,
I
you're
don't
not paying for friends,
Aren't you?
No.
Don't you have to pay?
Well, you can say that about going to college. Right? You can say that about anything. You can say that about anything, right? Well, why do you buy a nice car? Oh, you're paying for the status symbol of it. I mean, you know, you could get a moped. It'll get you to work just as safely. So the whole thing is from the Country Club Car Wash text line. My daughter does this at Mizzou. And here's another one who sent me a link to apparently TikTok.com with a bunch of Rush talks out there. I think it's hilarious. God love him, but, you know, sign of the times, I guess. 727 here, Big 550 KTRS. Stay right there. We'll check in with Karen Travers in a second with the White House. Get the latest on that European summit in Washington, D.C. And then Stephen Roberts at 750. Going to do a primer on what happened Friday night and the political fallout and where does everybody go from here at 750 with Stephen Roberts. It's 728 here. Captain Paul Kopsky, St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center. Good morning, Captain Paul.
Good morning, McGraw. There's a crash on westbound 5570 between Illinois 203 and Exchange. It's causing a backup to near 111. Northbound 55 is running slow and stop and go at times at Bayless, where there's road work with one lane closed. Northbound 270 is congested from Doherty Ferry to 64, and the signals are on red flash at 70 and 94 in St. Charles, and in a few spots along Lindbergh in Florissant. From the KTRS St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
Weather for the next couple of days. It's going to be hazy, hot, and humid again today, but we can see light at the end of the tunnel. Another heat advisory today. Continue to check on mom, dad, the dogs, the cats. Check on grandma and grandpa, the neighbors. High of 96 today. Tonight, overnight, some clouds, a stray thunderstorm or two. 76, the low overnight. Tomorrow, high of 90. And then the cool front. We get a high Wednesday of 80s, mid-80s. Thursday, low 80s. And Fridays, we're going to be in mid-80s. So the back end of the week is going to be nice. 78 right now in downtown St. Louis at 7:30. Let's go to the newsroom. Once again, here's Rose Dalton.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is bringing with him to the White House an extraordinary cadre of European leaders to show U.S. President Donald Trump a united front against Russia. The European political heavy hitters were left out of Trump's summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin last Friday and are looking to safeguard Ukraine and the continent from any widening aggression from Moscow. A federal judge is considering whether detainees have been denied their legal rights at a temporary immigrant detention center in the Florida Everglades. This is the second lawsuit challenging practices at the facility known as Alligator Alcatraz. Today, civil rights attorneys in Miami will ask a judge to ensure detainees have confidential access to their lawyers. In local headlines, a group of Missouri residents are speaking out against efforts by Republican lawmakers to redistrict. Dozens gathered outside the Missouri State Capitol on Saturday to protest the efforts. And a Small Business Administration Disaster Loan Outreach Center is now open in Lincoln County for those impacted by the severe storms and flash flooding in late July. It's operating out of Ellsbury City Hall. 79 degrees. Time now is 7:30. I'm Rose Dalton, KTRS News, the talk of St. Louis.
John Beal Roofing, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, or johnbealroofing.com. Guaranteed to give you the best price. Work with your insurance company, residential, commercial, industrial. They guarantee you the best price. Did I mention John Beal guarantees you the best price? Look, they've been busy all summer long with all of these storms running around fixing everybody's roof. So have the out-of-towners. They come in from all over town. They go straight to the DMV. They put Missouri plates on, Illinois plates on, and then all of a sudden they say they're local. Not going to work. We are smarter than that. Don't hire the out-of-towners, storm chasers. Keep it local. Keep it John Beal. Look, they do roofing, siding, as well as gutters. Don't forget about the siding and the gutters because a lot of damage was done to the siding over these storms, and John Beal can help you with that as well as the gutters. John Beal Roofing, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, or johnbillroofing.com.
Hello, St. Louis. My family's been in the car business for almost 85 years, and I'm so proud to have two of my sons join the Londoff team. Together, we are continuing the Londoff commitment to great customer service. When you buy a vehicle from our family, you can be sure you'll get the best price and the best service. Are you kidding me? Price brings people in, but service keeps them coming back. Stop in today or shop 24/7 at Londoff.com. Everybody's a winner at Johnny Londoff Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Johnny Londoff Chevrolet.
Summer's here. Is your air conditioner up for the challenge? Hi, Farmer Dave here for Viviano Heating and Air. With Viviano Heating and Air, you don't have to guess. Our certified technicians provide expert AC maintenance, repairs, and energy-efficient system upgrades tailored to your home. Schedule your AC service today by calling 618-345-7498 or visit the website vivianoair.com. That's vivianoair.com. Train, the most reliable name in heating and cooling around. It's hard to stop a train.
Hey, it's John Carney. A lot of conversations with the folks over at Allen Roofing, pretty much asking advice, because I know a lot of people got smacked by that storm, and he had some great advice for people to think about. First off, be careful of who you talk to when you're going to get some work done. Make sure there's an agreement, and the scope of work is laid out in that contract. Also, as you can imagine, a lot of contractors are busy. Give them some time. And you know what? Allen Roofing will come put a tarp on your roof at no charge, even if you don't use them when you get the roof repaired. Also, check the Better Business Bureau. See what the reviews are for contractors that you deal with. And also remember, insurance companies allow up to an entire year from the date of loss to file a claim. So you've got time to get those repairs done and that replacement done. Don't rush it. Just a few tips from the people that know roofing and repairs better than anyone. It's Allen Roofing, online at aroofing.net.
Becoming a truck driver doesn't have to be complicated. At Schneider, we make it easy to get your commercial driver's license and start your new career. With our CDL apprenticeship training, you'll get paid to become a truck driver in just 5 to 6 weeks and have a Schneider driving job waiting for you when you've completed the program. Plus, during training, Schneider will provide transportation, lodging, and meals at no cost to you. Ready to get your career on the road? Learn more and apply today at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
I'm Teresa Metz, Executive Director of Fairmont on Clayton. We are a Montessori assisted living and memory care community designed specifically for seniors and residents with Alzheimer's disease. At Fairmont on Clayton, we identify activities that foster a sense of purpose and identity for each of our residents. The Montessori approach is a focus on life skills the residents can do instead of what they can't. We're located in the heart of Clayton. It's an amazing community, one I'm sure you and your loved one will embrace. They're Fairmont on Clayton, 314-646-7600. Or online at FairmontClayton.com.
Hi, it's Frank Cusimano inviting you to join me for the Press Box, brought to you by Control Option, Monday through Thursday at 6 p.m. We're going to interview some of the biggest names in sports and have our opening monologue. That's the Press Box, brought to you by Control Option, Monday through Thursday at 6 p.m. right here on the Big 550 KTRS, the talk of St. Louis.
Live from Studio 550, this is the McGraw Show on KTRS.
She's well rested. Good, because this last half of the year is going to be busy. Karen Travers, ABC News White House correspondent. Karen, good to have you back. We missed you.
Thank you.
It was you got it. It was a hastily arranged summit in Alaska, and what seems to be today is a hastily arranged meeting with these European leaders. What's going on today in Washington, D.C.?
I mean, everything's coming together pretty quickly. The president met with President Putin on Friday in Alaska and then extended the invitation for President Zelensky of Ukraine to come to the White House. And he's bringing some friends with him. After that invitation was extended, several critical European leaders said they were coming as well. And so the White House has opened this up, basically setting up a second big summit today here at the White House. The French president, the German chancellor, the British prime minister, the Italian prime minister, the president of Finland, the NATO secretary general, they're all going to be here today. It's a really major show of support for President Zelensky and Ukraine from these key countries. But also, these are people that the president has good relationships with. You know, he respects many of these leaders. He's met with many of them multiple times since taking office. So we'll see if there is a reverse pressure campaign that Zelensky and the Europeans can put on the president to bring him back to the position of pushing for a ceasefire in Ukraine with Russia, because that's what he had been doing last week until he met with Vladimir Putin, and now seems to have adopted the Russian position of trying to get to a peace agreement without stopping the hostilities.
So there is a philosophy out there with President Trump, is that you want to be the last person in the room with Donald Trump. So is that the strategy going on here with these European leaders?
It's possible, you know, and who knows if he doesn't have another meeting next. Like, they're the second up, if you will,
right,
to follow Vladimir Putin. The president, of course, had wanted to have Zelensky and Putin meet together. That has not transpired at this point. The Russians said that did not come up in their conversations the other day, but we'll see how this plays out today. I mean, certainly President Zelensky does not want it to be like what happened in February, the last time he was here at the White House, which was such an explosive Oval Office meeting. We all remember that very well. But I think just by the nature of who's coming with him, it will likely be very different.
Which is my next question. Is it going to be a photo op session? Are they going to sit and meet? What's the plan? What's the strategy today?
Yeah, the president's going to meet first with Zelensky one-on-one, and then they're going to have meetings with the European leaders, everybody together. The special envoy, Steve Witkoff, had indicated that there would be breakout sessions, maybe involving senior officials, and maybe not necessarily the president. But we do know that the president will have that meeting with Zelensky and then have a meeting with everybody, including the Europeans as well.
Any chance that a news conference is scheduled for later today?
Not like officially on the schedule at this point. I think everybody's hoping that the president does take some questions, though, because he didn't when he was with Putin in Russia, and he didn't on the plane ride back as well. So we haven't had a chance to ask him questions since that meeting with Putin on Friday.
Stay tuned. Karen Travers back from vacation, well rested and tanned. Get back to work, Karen. Thanks for checking in.
I'm a redhead. I do not tan.
All right, Karen. Talk to you tomorrow. Have a good day.
Have
Thanks.
a great day. Thanks.
You got it. ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers does not tan, she burns. I apologize. Stay right there. We'll check in with Stephen Roberts, put a political spin on all of this. What does he see as, was there a winner? Was there a loser? What does he take of this meeting today? What are his thoughts? And we'll get into that in about 11 minutes, right after traffic and weather. And a word from our sponsor. I always wanted to say that. And a word from our sponsor. And by Dents Express. Dents Express is a great company. Dents Express, STLtoday.com. Dents Express, STLtoday.com. They have 2 locations. That's their website. 2 locations. You walk in, you fix the dents, you fix the hail damage, you fix any minor collision. The 2 locations, one's in Manchester on Manchester in Baldwin. And then they are on Highway 94 in St. Charles. Look, normally you just drive in and you get an estimate right there. But because of all, this still car after car coming in was still seeking to fix the damage from these spring storms. Dents Express still very busy. They have all the great things except they're asking you to make an appointment. Save yourselves from aggravation, make an appointment, and when you're ready, come in. Then they'll reach out to your insurance company. They'll handle all the paperwork. They'll handle all the dents and the dings and the hail damage and all that stuff, and they'll get the car back to you looking great. 30-plus years the family has run this place. DentsExpressSTL.com. Right next to Gettekers, right next to Boeing. Dents Express or DentsExpressSTL.com.
Cancer. We need a cure.
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 That's why the St. Louis Men's Group Against Cancer and the Big 550 KTRS are teaming up to help fight cancer with the 15th annual KTRS Radiothon. Thursday, August 21st, all day long, we'll be helping raise funds to find a cure and help treat cancer victims and their families. All money raised stays right here in St. Louis. You can help right now and be entered for a chance to win a once-in-a-lifetime Masters golf experience. Go to KTRS.com and look for the KTRS Radiothon banner for details. With a $200 donation, you'll receive 3 entries in the drawing for a chance to win a trip for 2 to the 2026 Masters last day on a private jet. Trip includes round-trip flight, transportation to and from Augusta National, tickets to the prestigious Masters with food and beverages included. Plus, you'll also receive 4 St. Louis Cardinals tickets to the September 16th game versus the Cincinnati Reds, 2 tickets to a Blues preseason game, and 2 tickets to City 2's game at Energizer Park on September 12th. And all for your $200 tax-deductible donation to the St. Louis Men's Group Against Cancer KTRS Radiothon. The 15th annual KTRS Radiothon is a service of the Big 550 KTRS Cares and presented by
Londoff Chevrolet and Londoff Autoplex, the City of Florissant, SSM Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital, Milo's Bocce Garden, National Museum of Transportation, the St. Louis Cardinals, Altair Travel and Cruises, and Spectrum Eyeglass Repair.
Earn your high school diploma at St. Louis County Library. The Excel Adult High School program gives adults a second chance to pursue their dreams by earning a nationally accredited high school diploma. This free online program helps expand your career opportunities, prepare you for the workforce, or continue your education. The library provides a limited number of scholarships to qualified adult learners, and you can learn more at slcl.org/excel.
Permajack of St. Louis is synonymous with foundation repair and basement waterproofing across the St. Louis region. They know when you get water in your basement following a storm or when the snow melts, it means you have a problem. Make sure your basement doesn't leak or flood with Permajack of St. Louis. Permajack's basement waterproofing experts can perform a complete inspection of your basement to determine the problem and design a solution to keep water from entering and damaging your home. The solution could be as simple as crack repair or a sump pump, or more comprehensive like exterior waterproofing or an internal perimeter drainage system. No matter the solution, your basement will be dry with Hometown Permajack. Schedule a free inspection and estimate by visiting permajackofstlewis.com. That's permajackofstlewis.com. Permajack, foundation repair and waterproofing. Done right.
Make a splash this summer with Dogtown Pizza. The weather and the pizza ovens are heating up, so stock up on 12 different flavors of your favorite Dogtown. Why cook hamburgers on the grill when you can get a hamburger pizza? Hot chicken, the SOB and for me, and from the garden, tomato, basil, garlic, and the veggie. Make your next pool party a pizza party with 12 different flavors of Dogtown, one for every swimmer in your house. Make it a Dogtown summer at every local grocery store and dogtownpizza.com.
Hi, I'm Mike Robinson with Robank Properties, and I want your fixer-upper home. It's crazy to spend a ton of money fixing it up when I will pay you top dollar right now. I don't even care what condition it's in. Your trash is my treasure. No inspections, no contingencies, just cold, hard cash. Call me, Mike Robinson, at 314-283-0867. That's Mike Robinson, 314-283-0867, or at robangproperties.com.
St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center. Here is Captain Paul Kopsky.
McGraw, there's a crash on westbound 5570 between Illinois 203 and Exchange. It's causing a backup to near 111. Northbound 55 is running slow and stop and go at times at Bayless, where there's road work with one lane closed. Drive time from 55 in Lindbergh up to 44 is now 12 minutes. Northbound 270 is congested from 44 to 64. The worst of it is from Big Bend to Manchester. And the signals are on red flash at 70 and 94 in St. Charles, also in a few spots along Lindbergh in Florissant. This traffic report is brought to you by Fielder Electric. See what everyone is saying about the pros at Fielder Electric. Whether it's a new build or a 100-year-old home, Fielder Electric has you covered. From the KTRS St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
From the Woods Basement Systems Weather Desk, local experts for basement waterproofing, foundation repair, crawl space repair, and more. woodsbasementsystems.com.
Monday, mostly sunny, hot, and humid, a high of 97 degrees, and a 20% chance for some spotty afternoon showers and thunderstorms. Those will fizzle out Monday evening. We'll drop to 78 overnight. And then for Tuesday, mostly sunny, another hot and humid day with a high of 95, and a 40% chance of rain and storms that will continue into Tuesday evening when a cold front moves through the area and finally brings an end to the current heat wave. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Kristen Cornett for the Big 550 KTRS.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, The Breakfast Club. 40 years ago, The Breakfast Club came out. 40 years ago. That means my 40th high school reunion is right around the corner, which it literally is. And in honor of the 40th anniversary of The Breakfast Club, they are re-releasing it out into the wild again. September 7th through the 10th here in St. Louis. Actually, in St. Louis, you can, starting on September 5th, Friday, September 5th through the 11th, you can see it at the Chase Park Plaza. You can see it at the Foundry. You can see it at, what other places? Ronnie's IMAX.
IMAX.
Yeah. So there you go. The Breakfast Club, 40th anniversary. It spoke to a generation, man. It's one of the most quoted movies in the history of mankind. No, you guys aren't excited? Nothing?
I'm excited. I own it.
No?
I know. I was going to say, because I own it. I could just watch it.
You own the VHS.
I do.
It's part of the experience.
Oh, my goodness. That movie. Breakfast Club. For those of us who are Gen Xers, man.
Yep.
Well, and I got to say, I'm going to go one step further and be like, I was more of a Pretty in Pink. And those came out around this.
Yeah, same time.
Yeah, right? I mean, I love 16 Candles, but...
Yeah. Well, but I mean, all good teen angst movies.
Right.
But
So
Breakfast
good.
Club,
So
Breakfast
good.
Club is at the summit.
So good.
748 here, Big 550 KTRS.
When you pay for tree work, you want to be sure you're getting the most for your hard-earned money. That's why you should always use the ISA certified arborist at River City Tree Service in Baldwin, Missouri. Hi, I'm Steve with River City Tree Service, and we've been the go-to tree service since 2008. Tree removal, tree trimming, storm damage, deadwood removal, stump grinding, and more. Give River City Tree Service a call for all your tree service needs at 314-270-8071. That's 314-270-8071. River City Tree Service.
Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or at your local CVS.
Scott, can you believe it's already been more than a decade since the Queen of Carpets sold flooring to St. Louis area contractors?
I know, but I don't have to be a king to offer contractors today's lowest prices.
Yes, contractors owe it to their customers and themselves to shop at Best Buy Flooring for the largest in-stock selection of carpet, carpet tile, sheet vinyl, laminate, hardwood, luxury vinyl plank, and luxury vinyl tile.
Plus 3 convenient locations, North County, South County, and Metro East.
Open 7 days a week.
Best flooring, best selection, Best Buy. Best Buy Flooring.
This is the McGraw Show on KTRS.
750 on the nose. I think there's probably one man in America who can discuss two of the most important topics of the day. One is Western Europe hangs in the balance, and of course the Yankees get healthy over the weekend with a weekend series against the Cardinals here in St. Louis. Good morning, Stephen Roberts.
Well, good morning. Gee, I'm glad you mentioned the weekend series. Your team played well, but then ninth inning, the second baseman kicks 2 balls in the ninth inning in a tie game. I mean, that's gotta hurt.
Well, how about Pozo doing his best Babe Ruth impression? He uses a bat from the hospital visit to hit a home run off the Yankees.
Well, good for him.
Yeah, no. Yankees get healthy. They're hanging by a thread in the American League wild card race. Cardinals you caught the Cardinals at a bad time, but good win by your Yankees, and it's going to be nip and tuck through the end of the year for them.
Yeah, and there was an interview with Goldschmidt and on the Yankee Network, and he was asked about the warm reception he got, when he came up to bat yesterday. And he said, there are such great fans here in St. Louis, and they love their Cardinals and they understand baseball. And it was this lovely moment where even though he was playing for the other team, he was paying tribute to the city and the fans who had loved him for 6 years. And, and he was right about St. Louis. And, so even though we won, it was a nice moment for Cardinals fans.
Stop sucking up to the audience, Stephen Roberts. All right.
You got me there.
Let's talk. Please explain what happened Friday night. They went in with a whole bunch of optimism, and what came out of that was people are trying to sort of grapple with what actually happened after that summit on Friday night.
Well, there are two things. The first thing is it's been widely mentioned, but I agree that it's very important, and that's the optics of it. Let's remember, Vladimir Putin has been a pariah for over 3 years since the invasion of Ukraine. There are many countries he can't even go because he's under criminal indictment by the International Criminal Court. He would be arrested, and he's been a pariah. And here's Donald Trump welcoming him to American soil. Alaska's an American state, with red carpets and military flyovers and warm handshakes. He even applauded Putin as he approached him. And this is exactly the photo, exactly the video Putin wanted. This was rehabilitation. This was acceptance. This was restoring his stature and visibility and power on the world stage. So that was the first goal of Putin, and he accomplished it completely. But even more significantly, let's remember, Trump flying over to Alaska says, I want a ceasefire. We have to stop the killings. There will be severe consequences, quote unquote, if Putin doesn't agree to a ceasefire. And 3 hours later, he totally reverses course and says, no, now I agree with Putin that we shouldn't have a ceasefire, that we should go directly to long-range talks to settle the territorial disputes, which could take months and even years while the killing continues. Let's remember 15,000 Ukrainian civilians have been killed, over 100,000 troops, and plus hundreds of thousands of casualties on the Russian side as well. And this is, as Peter Baker in the New York Times wrote, this is given the erratic history of Trump's presidency, this was a reversal of historic proportions, and that Putin now has a free pass, as Baker wrote, to continue the killing in Ukraine. So it's hard to come to any conclusion, but this was a big win for Putin and a big loss for Trump.
Well, not only that, but if you remember, go back a week before, right, Trump had put a deadline on Putin's got to call a ceasefire or there are going to be severe consequences. Then he delays that because we have this summit, and if he doesn't agree to anything, we're going to have massive sanctions and there's going to be a whole lot of problems if he doesn't agree to something, and then he comes back and then totally reverses. You have to wonder, Donald Trump's even sort of floated this idea that he's getting played by Putin. Donald Trump doesn't have a lot of cards. He's just sort of hoping his Jedi mind trick works best on Vladimir Putin.
Well, and, we know this. He's admired Putin for years. He's admired Putin's strength. He's envied Putin's ability to run a country without pesky journalists and pesky dissident parliamentarians. He admires strong men around the world, Viktor Orban and others. There's no secret here. He has done this over and over again. But this is exactly why the European leaders have decided to come to Washington today. Because let's remember, when the last time Zelensky came to Washington in the Oval Office, he was humiliated and demeaned by Trump, who just dismissed him and said, well, you don't have any cards to play. Putin's, a big player and is a strong man, and you're a weakling. And so the Europeans, who agree with Zelensky that the first order of business is to end the killing and somehow get a ceasefire, they're coming to Washington today to support Zelensky. So Zelensky is not just one leader dressed in military fatigues of one small European country. You've got the whole mass of other European leaders supporting him and supporting his argument. But there's another point to the tableau this afternoon, too. You know, for all the ways in which Donald Trump reflects a long tradition in American history of isolationism, a long tradition of saying we've got these two oceans that protect us from Asian wars and European wars, and we're going to hunker down and fortress America, America first. A long, long, long history of that viewpoint in America. But the Europeans, their presence in the Oval Office today reminds everybody that for all the ways in which Trump talks about getting rid of American obligations, America is still a member of NATO. America is still pledged, sacred pledge, to defend countries that are right on the front lines, right near Ukraine, right in the crosshairs of Putin's revanchist ambitions to reestablish the Soviet Union. So, yeah, there's a big ocean between us and Europe, but the presence of those European leaders today symbolize how deeply our connections and our obligations are to defending Western Europe.
Well, if you want something from Donald Trump, you certainly want to be the last guy in the room. That's been obvious over the last number of years. Right. But then secondly, Donald Trump's trying to cut a deal with Putin, who doesn't want a deal. And how many times is Donald Trump going to reach out his hand and get his hand slapped before he realizes Putin doesn't want a ceasefire? Putin doesn't want to stop. Donald Trump keeps sort of appeasing this guy in all ways and shapes. Putin keeps slapping his hand. Putin doesn't want a deal.
Putin does want a deal. He wants it on his own terms, though. He wants a deal where he occupies and basically swallows about 20% of Ukraine, which is what the Russian troops now occupy. He wants a deal in which Ukraine promises never to become part of NATO. He wants a deal that limits the ability of Western Europe to defend Ukraine. I mean, he wants to swallow Ukraine. And it's not just Ukraine. Let's remember, Putin has been very clear that he considers the collapse of the Soviet Union a tragedy of historic proportions, and that his mission as a modern czar is to reestablish the Soviet Empire, not just in eastern Ukraine. That's just the beginning. And so he wants a deal, but he wants it totally he wants a capitulation. He wants a surrender. He doesn't want a negotiation.
Stephen Roberts, we'll leave it there. Baseball savant, basking in the glow of a weekend series sweep with his Yankees. Stephen Roberts, have a good week. We'll talk to you next Monday.
Okay, pal.
You got it. 7:58 here. Big 550 KTRS. You got to give the man his due. He is a Yankee fan. Got to give him his due. St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center. Here is Captain Paul Kopsky.
McGraw, they are still working to clear a crash with injuries on westbound 5570 between Illinois 203 and Exchange. It's causing a backup to near 111. And this traffic report is brought to you by Neighbors Credit Union. If you're ready to upsize, downsize, or first-time home buy, turn to the team at Neighbors Credit Union. At Neighbors Credit Union, you'll find great rates, expert advice, and personalized friendly service throughout the entire home loan process and beyond. That's just what you'd expect from a great neighbor. Apply online today at neighborscu.org. From the KTRS St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
Temperatures today going to be in the 90s tomorrow, but the back half of the week, we're going to get back into the 80s. So a nice week on the back end. Right now, 78 degrees. Coming up 8 o'clock on the Big 550 KTRS Talk Radio, St. Louis.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is on his way to the White House, along with several top European leaders. They will get a readout of last week's Alaska summit between Presidents Trump and Putin on ending the war in Ukraine. ABC national security analyst Steve Ganyard has more on what Putin wants and what Zelensky is unwilling to give up.
In Anchorage, the demand from Putin was the rest of Donetsk. That is an area about the size of Delaware. It's very rich in minerals and agriculture. It's a strong industrial area, so that is what he sees as his consolation prize. But Zelensky has already said that he's not going to give it up, which suggests that negotiations in this war will continue to go on for a long time to come.
2 police officers who were shot in a city in northern Utah have died of their injuries. Police Detective Crystal Beck in Brigham City, next door to where it happened, says as the officers arrived at the home, they immediately began taking gunfire.
I think it leaves a big impact when any officer is involved in something like this. And it affects not only the officers here in our community, but also all over Utah, all over the nation.
Police say there is no threat to the public. Up and down the East Coast, preparations are being made for Hurricane Erin. ABC Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z has more on the Caribbean areas that'll feel it first.
We've got this storm less than 100 miles northeast of Turks and Caicos, who are on tropical storm warning. Central Bahamas tropical storm watch. Those outer bands, it can drop more than 6 inches of rain really quickly.
Erin is not going to hit the U.S. mainland, but it will bring high winds, waves, and possibly dangerous rip currents. As hundreds of thousands of Israelis march and call for an end to the war, the Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry says the death toll has now passed 62,000 Palestinians in the 22 months since Hamas attacked on October 7th, 2023. You're listening to ABC News.
Mizzou football.
It's a rushing touchdown, and Missouri extends the lead.
KTRS AM, FM 106.1, K291CW St. Louis.
The 37th Midwest Salute to the Arts invites you to a 3-day outdoor arts festival at Moody Park in Fairview Heights, Illinois, August 22nd through the 24th. Visitors can immerse themselves in a celebration of art, enjoy local food vendors and a kids' creation station. Also, join us for Uncommon Collaboration, an exploration of contemporary sculpture exhibit, in partnership with Art Village Fairview. For more information, visit MidwestSalute.com. Brought to you in part by the Illinois Office of Tourism and Discover Downstate Illinois.
Inland Marine Boats in Barnhart has been serving your boating needs for 38 years. Hi, I'm Jim, and this is my son, Ryan.
Remember, you only get 18 summers with your kids.
Make the most of them with a boat from Inland Marine Boats, your Mercury Marine dealer.
Texas Democrats are heading back to Austin.
The Texas legislature convenes today for the second time in the second special legislative session. So far, lawmakers have not been able to reach a quorum because of the Democrats who left the state to block redistricting.
ABC's Brian Clark. The Democrats were trying to stop a Republican mid-decade redistricting plan that will hand the GOP as many as 5 extra seats in the midterms. California Governor Gavin Newsom is asking voters to let him do the same in his state. Reinforcements are on the way to Washington, D.C. to help the National Guard troops put on the streets by President Trump when he ordered a federal takeover of law enforcement in the nation's capital. ABC's Mola Lenghi is there.
So far, the National Guard footprint here in Washington has been relatively sparse, but we are expecting an escalation in troops now that several governors have committed to deploying troops from their states. In this next wave of troops that's expected to join the more than 800 National Guard troops that President Trump activated here last week.
The troops have not been carrying weapons, but officials in D.C. say that could change. Investigators in New York City are still looking for whoever carried out a mass shooting in a crowded nightclub that left 3 people dead and 10 others wounded. Law enforcement officials say as many as 4 people opened fire with their weapons inside the club, and there have been no immediate arrests. The shooting comes in a year of record low gun violence in New York City. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
You don't need to wait until it's cold outside to check your furnace. Beat the rush and save with Aldon's $79 Furnace Safety Check Special for new customers. And Aldon will make replacing your aging system a breeze. Get a $300 Aldon rebate off a new Daikin Fit furnace and pay as little as $273 per month, plus receive additional utility rebates if eligible. Also get a free custom air quality assessment with every service call. For details on these specials and to learn more about Daikin Fit systems, visit al-don.com.
79 degrees at 8:05. Here's what's happening now. There are big changes for St. Louis public school students on this first day of school. About 2,000 students are being relocated to other schools due to the damage of several school buildings from the May 16th tornado. SLPS Superintendent Millicent Borische said the campuses receiving displaced students are prepared with many more people available to help in those spaces. The district said clinical therapists and social workers will also be on hand to provide mental health support to students. It's another day of extreme heat in the St. Louis area. This has health officials reminding the public to take precautions. Those in need of a cooling shelter should call the United Way at 211. And Clayton City officials have voted to allow short-term rentals, but with heavy restrictions. KTRS's Sobe Bay has the story.
Legislation unanimously passed by the Clayton Board of Aldermen. Short-term rentals leased through platforms such as Airbnb or VRBO would be allowed only in the city's downtown and would require a specific short-term rental occupancy permit. Stays would have to be 2 days or more, but less than 30 days, and operators would be issued annual permits that could be revoked. Parties and weddings would be banned. Any short-term rentals would be limited to 4 units per building, and only buildings built before 1955 would qualify. Sobe Bay, KTRS News.
2 recipients have been selected for sports wagering direct mobile licenses in Missouri. The Missouri Gaming Commission announced that it has selected DraftKings and Circa Hospitality for the licenses. A couple of Salvation Army-owned office properties near Forest Park are now listed for sale. This comes as the nonprofit considers the possibility of relocating its local headquarters. The buildings along the 1100 block of Hampton Avenue have an asking price of just over $5 million. This KTRS Business Minute is brought to you by Walter Knoll Florist, a place for all your floral needs. You can place your order anytime at WKF.com. 79 degrees. Time now is 8:06. I'm Rose Dalton, KTRS News, the talk of St. Louis.
All right, 8:07 here. This hour, what do we got going on? Brian Clark is going to be joining us. Texas Democrats have given up, I guess, down in Texas. They're headed back. They're tired. They need some clean underwear, so they're headed back to their home, and they're going to create a quorum to change the maps in Texas. So Brian Clark's got that story, why the Democrats finally gave in, apparently. We'll do that in about 15 minutes. Randy Carricker is going to join us, talk about that lost weekend against the Yankees, but the great story of the catcher for the Cardinals, Pozo, who has a bat that was decorated by kids at Mercy Hospital, and the guy went on to hit a home run. It's really one of the few bright spots of a tough weekend series. So we'll get into that with Randy. St. Louis City lose again. They were up 1-0, and they were up 2-1.
Yeah,
they ended up losing 3-2, and they scored a goal in like the last 4 minutes.
Yeah,
so not a good weekend for St. Louis sports.
There's a stat that they've given up the most goals after an hour in the league.
Yeah, not good. Not good. Kicking fans out of the stands they don't like the hats. And keep giving up goals in the last 5 minutes of the game.
But their second team is killing it. They're like undefeated. Yeah, the club team or whatever. I don't understand. They're
playing different competition.
Yeah,
it's minor league.
Yeah,
but they're winning.
Well, it's in trouble when you're like, hey, our AAA team's doing awesome. When you got to start selling it that way, hey.
They always pick it up bright side.
Our other restaurant is doing great.
I know the health inspector said this is an F.
Our kids menu is really killing it. We're good. 9 o'clock hour. Phone calls, text messages, and everything else. Let me remind you, today is Monday, and Thursday is the 15th annual KTRS Radioathon. We raise funds for one specific reason: St. Louis Men's Group Against Cancer. What do they do with the money? They then give it all away in grants right here in St. Louis to organizations that are on the front line when it comes to the fight against cancer. Everything from dealing with the effects of cancer and cancer treatments and things like that to world-class medical research in where the donation can actually make a difference. We've been doing this for 15 years. It's been a great response. We love doing it here, and we continue the tradition. And 15 years, can't believe that. But here's the deal. You can go to KTRS.com right now and start donating. $100. Every single person who gives us $100, every single person who gives us $100, you'll receive 4 tickets to a Cardinals game for September 16th. Plus, you'll be entered into a drawing for a plane trip, private jet to Augusta to see Sunday at the Masters. If you donate $200, you'll get 4 tickets to a Cardinal game, 2 preseason tickets to a Blues game, 2 tickets to the St. Louis City 2, which is killing it, according to Rose. And you'll have 3 entries to draw from when it comes to the trip round-trip private jet, the KTRS private jet. I don't know if it's the KTRS jet or we've got another one.
It's not the one they send you.
It could be the KTRS-2 private jet, which is a little smaller, but still very nice.
It's a Cessna.
Private plane, round trip, and the Sunday at the Masters. So there you go. Donate $100, $200, and all the money raised goes straight into St. Louis Men's Group Against Cancer, and then they dole it out according to their board of directors, and they have a host of people who will sit and figure out where the best grants should be, the whole grant writing process and everything. KTRS.com for more information. KTRS.com. It starts Thursday, the 15th annual KTRS St. Louis Men's Group Against Cancer Radiothon. We should actually, you know what, while we're here, why don't we, so the day of the event, I called up JR, my cousin, the writer, and he never, I don't even have these, he is autographing a copy of Open and autographing a copy of Shoe Dog and is donating them to the cause. So our live auction item is going to be a visit to the studio for the 9 o'clock hour. You can come and see how we do the show, as well as 2 autographed books, 2 New York Times #1 best-selling autographed books by the ghostwriter. The one is the story of Andre Agassi, which they've called the best sports biography ever. And Shoe Dog is the story of Phil Knight and Nike, which many people have considered the best business biography ever written. Autographed by JR. Of course, he's donating it, and all that money goes to St. Louis Men's Group Against Cancer. So that's one of the auction items we'll be auctioning off for the show come Thursday. 8:12 here, Big 550 KTRS. Let me tell you about Lordo's Diamonds. So the little one came down the other day, and she saw my sisters with the medallions, the little what do they call those things? Charms, right? Oh. And Emerson went up to her room and got her charm bracelet and came down because she wanted to be just like her aunts. Where did we get the next generation of charms? We got them from Lordo's Diamonds. It was the sweetest, nicest thing in the world, right? She wanted to be just like her aunts. And so I will be forever thankful to Lordo's Diamonds because they were the ones who went and researched it and found almost an exact replica of the charms our grandmother wore on her wrist. Now it's available for the next generation. It didn't cost $1 million. It was very inexpensive. But right, the experience, to see the connection through the jewelry was something very, very special. 1,000 thanks to Lordo's. That's what they do. They're a family jeweler, and so they will go to the ends of the earth to get what you need and get it done right. Earrings and necklaces and bracelets, and you name it, they've got it. They are not a big box jewelry store. That's not how they roll. They're family-owned and family-operated for 70-plus years. One-of-a-kind engagement rings, custom work. You bring it in, I got this, I want to do that. Whether it's men's watches or men's rings or rubies or jewels or you name it, they'll do it. And they're always looking to deal. So if you got something you want to trade in, trade up, trade down, Lordo's is where you go. Clayton Road in the heart of Ladue, 314-432-8008. I would recommend going right in there and see for yourself. Lordo's or lordosdiamonds.com. St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center. Here is Captain Paul Kopsky.
McGraw, they are still working to clear a crash with injuries on westbound 5570 between Illinois 203 and Exchange. It's causing a backup to near 111. Southbound 55 is running slow and stop and go at times at Bayless, where there's road work with the left lane closed. But drive time from 55 in Lindbergh up to 44 is still just 10 minutes. Northbound 270 is congested from 44 to 64. Eastbound 64 is heavy from just east of Clayton Road to Big Bend. Westbound 64 crowded in front of Forest Park. And the signals are on red flash at 70 and 94 in St. Charles and in a few spots along Lindbergh in Florissant. This traffic report is brought to you by Dents Express. If the severe storms have you saying, oh, hail, bring your car, truck, SUV, or van to Dents Express. for a free hail damage repair evaluation. Dents Express will have your ride looking like new again, and they'll even take care of the insurance paperwork. That's Dents Express at dentsexpressstl.com. From the KTRS St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
From the Woods Basement Systems Weather Desk, local experts for basement waterproofing, foundation repair, crawl space repair, and more. WoodsBasementSystems.com.
Big weather changes coming later this week, but for now we are still stuck on hot. A heat advisory today up to 97 this afternoon. Top heat index about 106. Some isolated storms possible today. Very limited in coverage, but lightning, brief downpours, and some gusty winds if you get caught under one. Down to 76 tonight. A storm or two still kicking around, and then still steamy Tuesday. 94 with a heat index of 103, but scattered rain and storms tomorrow signal that the cooler air is starting to move in. Highs will be in the mid-80s Wednesday. That is more like it. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers on the Big 550 KTRS.
Hey, it's Heidi Glaus, and I've got your ticket to something big happening here in St. Louis. TEDx St. Louis is celebrating a major milestone. Its 25th event, and it's happening Friday, September 5th at Two Hill Performing Arts Center. This is the TEDx St. Louis Women event, spotlighting bold, brilliant women who are shaping the future in real, tangible ways. We're talking innovation, technology, transportation, infrastructure, the arts, and more. Now, these aren't just inspiring stories. They're powerful ideas meant to spark change. And here's the deal. There are just weeks left to get your tickets. Whether you're looking for the full supporter experience with early access and all the extras, or you just want a spark of inspiration, there's a seat for you. Head to TEDxStLouis.org to grab your tickets today and become part of what's next. That's TEDxStLouis.org, SAINT, Louis.org.
Muni in Forest Park. Jersey Boys, the story of Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, closes the Muni season in style through August 24th. Sponsored by Commerce Bank and Commerce Trust. For tickets, visit muni.org.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella Windows specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation, 314-569-1050. And have a banner day.
You know what they say, you never get a second chance to make a first impression, and windows and doors are usually that first impression when it comes to your home. Dalco Home Remodeling custom makes their windows and doors, and better yet, they make them here in Missouri. Dalco Home Remodeling is locally and family owned, celebrating 50 years, so they know a thing or two. The Dalco team is known for quality and customer satisfaction. That's the way it was 50 years ago when they started, and that's still true today. So if you're looking to change the look of your home without breaking the bank, call Dalco Home Remodeling. They do free in-home estimates. Just call 314-298-7300 and make an appointment. You can also check them out online at dalcohomeremodeling.com. As they've always said, if you buy somewhere else and find out how much you could have saved at Dalco, you'll blow your stack. So call Dalco first, 314-298-7300.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from IQ Bar. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at eatiqbar.com/policy/terms of service.
Most protein bars are packed with sugar, carbs, and unpronounceable ingredients. There's a much better option. I'm Will, and I crafted IQ Bar plant protein bars with clean, functional, delicious ingredients to empower doers like you with superior brain and body fuel.
Now you can get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping when you text IQ Bar to 64,000. That's IQ Bar to 64,000.
Hi, it's JJ from Spectrum Eyeglass Repair, the nation's leader in eyeglass repair. Is there a broken pair of sunglasses you thought were doomed to stay in the glove box? Are your glasses taped together, glued together? Bring them to Spectrum. We'll fix them. Spectrum Eyeglass Repair carries a large selection of pre-made clip-ons, cases, and accessories. We can custom make clip-ons to fit your frames. You'll like our service, and you'll love our prices, almost as much as you'll love our song. We're in Crestwood on Watson Road and in St. Peters on Mid-Rivers Mall Drive. On the web at SpectrumEyeglassRepair.com. Now let's hear that groovy song one more time. Sing along with me.
Spectrum Eyeglass Repair.
Now, back to McGraw. Presented by Londoff Chevrolet and Londoff.com on the Big 550 KTRS.
All right, lots of talk over the last couple of weeks about the Texas state legislature. How does it affect us? Well, it could determine who is in control of the House of Representatives next election. They want to rejigger the districts. They want to gerrymander them so they can get more Republican seats out of them. Brian Clark, ABC News. The Democrats have fled, and now they're coming back?
Yeah, it appears they're coming back today. It's the start of the second special session called by Governor Greg Abbott. And, you know, the Governor Abbott has said there's all these things they have to do, the flood relief, but Democrats say this is all just about the redistricting. The governor has the power to, you know, enable flood relief and do these other things. Now they don't need to convene the whole legislature for this.
And so why are the Democrats coming back now? Do they need new underwear? What's clean underwear? What's going on here?
It's a good question, and we don't know the answer. I think we wonder, you know, has their movement peaked in terms of they got their point across, but they're not able to ultimately stop this. They don't have the numbers to do so. But what we saw over the weekend, all those rallies, a number of them who had fled Texas, they were in Chicago for a rally there, protesting this movement. We've seen Democratic states like California where Governor Newsom says, okay, I'm going to now do this in reverse to favor Democrats in California to negate what's going on in Texas. But as for the exact timing, we really don't know why. But it is tough. I mean, they're getting fined $500 a day for every day they're out of Texas. They're away from their families. They're away from all of their other responsibilities. So it was going to end eventually.
Yeah. Do they have the votes, and is the plan for them to redo the districts in Texas like they were threatening to do?
It certainly seems that way. We've seen no indication that they're backing off that plan or getting any kind of cold feet. It seems like that they have the votes. They want to move forward. This is what President Trump wants, and they're going to deliver this.
Does Gavin Newsom have the power and the votes and the infrastructure to get it done?
A little bit different in California because of the way the state goes there, and there are independent commissions that decide these lines. This was set up by when Arnold Schwarzenegger was governor to try to stop this kind of gerrymandering. And the governor is essentially saying, let's suspend this for a little bit just to counteract what they're doing in Texas and put it up to the people for a vote. So it wouldn't be as direct, the levers of power. It's a little bit different. But he has shown that, or he has signaled certainly that he's ready to go forward with this.
If he gets the votes he needs from whatever, is there enough time, assuming he wins the votes, to do what it is he wants to do?
It seems like there is for Gavin Newsom. And, you know, this is ahead of the election next year. We're about a year out from the midterm. So it's almost like the midterm race is starting right now nationally. And the first battle is on this redistricting map because we're seeing other states saying they're going to look into it as well. Florida, controlled by Republicans. Illinois, the Governor Pritzker there has talked about looking at redistricting. So this seems like the first battle of the midterms.
Yeah, even here in Missouri, they're all eyes on this as well. Is there anybody, Brian Clark, down there who's ringing the bell saying, maybe we should be careful what we hope for? If we can wring 4 or 5 more Republicans out of these districts, we might be cutting these districts too close to the bone and might have a reverse effect and get, God forbid, a moderate in there as opposed to a right-wing Republican.
Yeah, no room for moderates here. We have not seen anything like that. It does seem like they have figured this out almost to a science where they know exactly where to go
with these maps just to make it as efficient and really as guaranteed as possible. One person who is ringing that bell is, we mentioned Arnold Schwarzenegger. He, in California, does not want Governor Newsom to go forward with this. He's not a fan of what's going on in Texas either. He sat for an interview with the New York Times. He was wearing a T-shirt that said "Terminate Gerrymandering." He does not think that this is a good avenue to pursue for anybody.
Yeah, Illinois is as almost as good as Texas in terms of trying to shade these districts to get exactly what they want. So it's played by both sides. We'll wait and see how it all works out. But apparently the big story is Democrats are headed back to Texas. Brian Clark, ABC News. Thanks for checking in.
Thank you.
8:25 here, Big 550 KTRS. Let me tell you about Rudy Beck. Runs a law firm, Beck, Lennox, Stolzer, estate planning, and elder law. Jay Lennox, Carolyn Stolzer, and Rudy Beck, the three of them, are well-respected and well-trusted. Estate planning is something nobody likes to deal with. No one likes to talk about it. Heck, you don't even like to think about it, right? But you got to. Okay, the truth is you have to, because God forbid something happens. God forbid something happens, because eventually something's going to happen, and you have to be protected, and you have to protect the last generation, you have to protect your generation, our generation, and you need to protect the next generation. And how many times you hear the story where they say, oh, you know, they didn't do what they needed to do, and they lost it. They didn't, you know what, nothing was ever written down, so the judge decided to do it, right? That's not what you want. You want your thoughts, right? Your decisions to be made. And so that's what Rudy Beck does. He makes sure that these things are protected. Your generation, parents' generation, and future generations. And it's a lot easier than you think. Somebody who has gone through this, I was where you, I know. And then you end up not doing anything, right? Well, once you call and you get on the calendar, then they sort of take it from there. They then prod you to get whatever paperwork you need. So it's really not as hard. The hardest part is the first phone call. Call Rudy Beck. Call Jay Lennox. Call Carolyn Stolzer. 636-946-7899. You can thank me later. BeckElderLaw.com. St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center. Good morning, Captain Paul Kopsky.
Good morning, McGraw. The roads are clearing up. Northbound 270 is still congested, though, from 44 to 64. Eastbound 64 is heavy from McKnight to Big Bend. Westbound 64 is crowded from Hampton to McCausland. And the signals are on red flash at 70 and 94 in St. Charles, and in a few spots along Lindbergh in Florissant. From the KTRS St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
It's going to be mid-90s today, hazy, hot, and humid, just like it's been for the last 2 months. Tomorrow we're going to high of 90, and then we've made it. We've made it to the break. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, low to mid-80s, low humidity, plenty of sunshine. And we might get out of this thing when it's all said and done. But the first couple of days, again, the heat advisories continue for today and tomorrow. 78 down at the Arch at 8:28. Let's go back to the newsroom. Here's Rose Dalton.
A U.S. official says Russian leader Vladimir Putin has agreed that the United States and European allies could offer Ukraine a security guarantee resembling NATO's collective defense mandate as part of an eventual deal to end the war. Trump envoy Steve Witkoff said Sunday that the United States could offer Article 5-like protection. Air Canada has suspended plans to restart operations after the union representing 10,000 flight attendants decided to defy a return-to-work order. The Canada Industrial Relations Board ordered staff back by Sunday afternoon, but the union refused, calling the order unconstitutional. Air Canada now plans to resume flights tonight. In local headlines, St. Louis Mayor Karis Spencer has a new chief of staff. Spencer appointed her policy director, Casey Milberg, to the position as part of restructuring at City Hall. And State Farm and the National Volunteer Fire Council are teaming up for the second year to support local volunteer fire departments with funding to secure needed equipment. Through this year's Good Neighbor Firefighter Safety Program, 150 departments in 44 states received a $10,000 grant, including 3 departments in Missouri. 82 degrees. Time now is 8:30. I'm Rose Dalton, KTRS News, the talk of St. Louis.
It's Miller Furniture's 98th anniversary and sales tax holiday, going on now through August 19th.
I'm Mark Miller, owner of Miller Furniture and Mattress. We've been serving our customers with high-quality, American-made furniture at great prices since 1927. Right now, you'll save the amount equal to the sales tax or more on everything at our Belleville, Fairview Heights, Lake St. Louis, and Ellisville showrooms.
We have new and fresh looks on display like Flex Steel leather reclining sofas with power headrests and lumbar support, or our unique heirloom quality Amish-made furniture. Come see why we were voted Retailer of the Year by the Home Furnishings Association.
Shop our huge selection of American-made mattresses with brands like Chatham & Wells, Tempur-Pedic, and Stearns & Foster. Right now, get a free adjustable base when you purchase a Chatham & Wells mattress.
Let our 98 years of experience help you save time and money. 4 showrooms, 1 big celebration. Don't miss our 98th anniversary and sales tax holiday, going on now through August 19th.
At Miller Furniture and Mattress for 98 years and counting, we put the family in furniture.
Truck drivers, have you been searching for a more reliable driving job? Get the paychecks and predictability you need as a Schneider driver. Schneider's large selection of driving jobs means you can get the home time that suits your schedule. Choose from daily, weekly, monthly, or sometime in between. Plus, Schneider drivers have access to great benefits with a 401k match and a 24/7 support team. Get the keys to a better driving job. Search openings near you and apply now at SchneiderJobs.com.
It's Jill Farmer, and I'm here with Jeff Zufall, Senior Tax Strategist and Wealth Advisor at Capital Advisory Group and author of the #1 best-selling book on the new tax laws, Keep What's Yours. August is Financial Awareness Month, and if you own a business, your bookkeeper may be doing a great job with daily transactions. But what are you doing with that information? Jeff, tell us how strategic tax planning decisions now can reduce your tax liability at year end.
Thanks, Jill. The short answer is a lot. Since 1976, thousands of businesses have relied upon the tax slashing strategies provided by Capital Advisory Group to help them keep more of what they earn, reduce their future tax liability, and stop overpaying their federal and state income taxes. If you're not taking full advantage of the new tax laws and you feel like you're paying more than your fair share in taxes, let my team and I help you implement tax strategies.
Give Capital Advisory Group a call at 636-394-5524. Online at capitaladvisorygrp.com.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Now, back to McGraw. Presented by Londoff Chevrolet and Londoff.com on the Big 550 KTRS.
All right, let's check in with Randy every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Randy Carricker, you see him on The Matrix. He's got podcasts. He's got radio shows. He's got TV shows. The man is a star of stage and screen. He joins us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Good morning, Randy.
Good morning, McGraw. Always good to hear your dulcet tones. How you doing?
Good. Let's talk positive here. And I love this Pozo story. And I don't know if he guaranteed a home run or said he'd try or said he'd do the best he could. But I like the fact that he's pulling a Babe Ruth on the Yankees.
Yeah, let's just assume that he did guarantee it. And I love the fact, too. And this is a guy that was sleeping in his car within the last couple of years. You know, he was really down and out. Cardinals give him a chance in spring training. Nobody knew who he was. He comes up when Herrera suffers the first injury and gets an opportunity. He's been the best one of the best pinch hitters in the National League. He and Brandon Marsh of the Phillies have been the 2 best pinch hitters, and he's been a really good catcher, a really good guy to have on the team. And then this just is a cherry on top of the entire Pozo's story. It's incredible.
Yeah, and the story goes his son was born with some seizures and some health problems, and he spent the weekend at Mercy Hospital, and the kids decorated his bat with finger paint, and he's got these little kid handprints all over the bat, and he's got a picture of his son on the knob, and the guy ends up hitting a home run. I mean, this is out of a movie. I'm surprised Major League Baseball hasn't come in and complained that the bat wasn't legal or something.
Yeah, really. But if you're Disney, you have to jump all over this. I know Disney and Disney/ESPN, they're kind of battling with baseball right now. But it would be a great story. I mean, for Pozo to make it to the major leagues, and then if the movie ends with Pozo hitting the home run, it's a great story.
Yeah, no, it is a good story. And I'm still trying to find out more about it was during COVID when he was homeless with his kid in a car in Orlando. I think he was like doing DoorDash or something, just trying to make ends meet. And a couple years later, the guy's hitting home runs in the major leagues.
Yeah, it's amazing how people get the opportunity and seize the opportunity. And he's one of those guys. And McGraw, I think he's on the team next year. I know 3 of the Cardinals' top 6 prospects are catchers, but I have to think because of his pinch hitting ability, whether it's as the backup or as the third catcher, I think he'll be back next year.
Well, I don't know if he'll be back as a Cardinal next year, but he'll definitely be back somewhere in the major leagues next year. So
he'll definitely be in the majors. You're right.
Yeah, a tough weekend all the way around. Paul Goldschmidt, sort of highlight on Paul Goldschmidt. The story in the Post-Dispatch, I think it was from Lynn Worthy. He was a really good argument that, I don't know if it was him or Derek Gold, making the argument that Goldschmidt doesn't get the credit he deserves, and we revere Matt Holliday, but don't for Paul Goldschmidt. And Paul Goldschmidt's right there with Matt Holliday in terms of numbers and everything else.
Well, I think there's a couple of things that go into it. Number one, Holliday played in a couple of World Series, and he played on a World Champion. I know he was hurt during that World Series in 2011, but that does make a difference. And the other part of it is Holliday was your number 3 hitter for a really good team for a really long time, really for a 100-win team in 2015. When Albert left for 2012, 13, 14, 15, Holliday was the guy for a team that was in the NLCS 3 years in a row and then won 100 games the 4th year. I think and it's not Paul Goldschmidt's fault,
right,
but I think the fact that Paul Goldschmidt didn't play on as successful teams hurts him in the eyes of Cardinal fans. But yeah, his numbers were there. Holliday never won an MVP. And I think Goldie is, if he's not a Hall of Famer, he's going to be right on the edge of being a Hall of Famer.
How much of, and Matt Holliday, you know him better than anybody else, or better than I do, but Goldschmidt was so reserved and so I don't mean this as a negative, but sort of antisocial, never really showed behind the curtain. Matt Holliday was a little more exuberant and sort of a little more fan-friendly, I guess. Does that help in the sort of image of all this?
You know what? I think Matt, in his post-career media endeavors, has become more of that guy. He and Paul Goldschmidt were actually very similar as players in terms of their dealings with the media, never wanted to talk about themselves, which is a good thing, and wanted to spread the attention and the adulation around to their teammates, and both spectacular in the community. Down in South County, the Paul Goldschmidt Field from the YMCA, financed by Paul Goldschmidt. He was there at the Friends of Kids with Cancer benefit every year. Holliday, along the lines of the Pozo thing, after Holliday hit his 4th home run, he went over to Cardinal Glennon, and Cardinal Glennon has made a huge amount of money because of the efforts of Matt Holliday. He took his 400th home run ball after a game at like 11:30 at night and gave it to a Cardinal Glennon kid in his hospital room.
Yeah, so all good guys. You know this, Matt Holliday was beloved by the stat guys, right? I mean, he went to Oakland, he came here. He was one of those early adopters when it came. People realized he had something in terms of the numbers.
Yeah, he hit 340 in 2007 and finished second in the MVP voting. But people didn't, even at that time, people said, well, 340, yeah, that's great, but we're looking at OPS. He always had a high OPS. He was always a guy that took a lot of walks, hit a lot of doubles. He was just a really good player. Wasn't the best left fielder in the world, but he was a really good player and a winning player. I think that's the big key. He came here to win, and he won pretty much.
I'd love to see a story of a breakdown, maybe it's a couple years from now. What would have happened if Albert would have stayed with the Cardinals, right? What wouldn't the Cardinals have done if Albert would have stayed? Would they have traded for a Holiday? Would they have signed him? Would they have been able to sign Yachty long-term, Wainwright long-term, right? I mean, how the world would have changed if Albert would have stayed a Cardinal?
Yeah, I think the last two are notable. So they signed Holiday after they acquired him in 2009. They gave him the $120 million contract, and it was always speculated and never, obviously, factually put out there. But there was a lot of people that thought that because Holiday was making more money per year than Albert, that was one of the reasons that Albert left, because he felt like the Cardinals should have given him a new deal when they signed Holiday, and he wasn't the highest paid guy on the team. You know, McGraw, in all the years that Albert Pujols was a Cardinal, he was only the highest paid guy on the team 1 year. They got Roland, so they get Roland in 2002 and give him the big $90 million contract, and then Albert got the contract in 2004. And then after that, I don't know if it was – I don't know who they signed right after that, but isn't that amazing? I guess Roland just made more.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he was the highest paid guy on the team 1 year as a member of the team.
Lost weekend for the Cardinals, right? I mean, what do you say about a 3-game sweep of the Yankees?
Yeah, I think when you have Palante, who's really struggling, and then Gray, who really struggles in the heat, and then Michaelis going against the team. You know, for all the troubles the Yankees have had, they lead the league in runs, they lead the league in all of baseball in runs and OPS. The Cardinal pitching was not set up to combat the Yankees' offense, and you lose games by 12-8 and 7-5. And it's the Cardinal pitching leaves a lot to be desired, and that will be where the runway is next year, because Michaelis won't be here anymore. They have to go get another starting pitcher, and they need to get guys that are big-time September pitchers. You know how different the game gets in September, and the Cardinals just don't have those guys right now. Hopefully they'll be able to find them by 2027.
I mean, I don't know if they're going to go out and get them in a trade or get them free agent. They got to grow them. I mean, that's really the only way I see them getting these types of guys.
Or the other thing that they can do, and this is all about evaluation. Remember when they signed Chris Carpenter for nothing because he was hurt?
Yeah.
And they traded Darryl Kyle, and that was another deal where Colorado gave the Cardinals a bunch of money. Darryl Kyle was an abject failure because his curveball didn't break in Colorado, so the Cardinals get him for Manny Ibarra and Jose Jimenez. What they need to do is find a guy that isn't performing well or is injured where he is, where they feel like they can fix him. It sure would be nice to have a Dave Duncan to help out in that endeavor.
You know, there's another story and a book to be written. The amount of careers Dave Duncan saved. Tony La Russa once said to me, somebody in the media should do a story about how much money Dave Duncan made for pitchers, right? How many they took off the trash heap and turned into, multi-million-dollar contracts because of what Dave Duncan did for him.
And how much money did he save the DeWitt family by having people like Woody Williams and Matt Morris and obviously Carpenter that they get for relatively low prices. But man, if those Presupon, if those guys would have performed the way they did for another team, they would have been $20 million pitchers even then. And the Cardinals were paying them $5, $6, $7 million. The amount of money in terms of the quality that the Cardinals got for the pitchers and what they were paying them, if the Cardinals would have paid for that kind of quality, I'll bet you that Dave Duncan saved the DeWitt family more than $50 million.
Kyle Loesch is in there. I mean, how many guys? Right, no one ever heard of Woody Williams. And then he's ended up, killing it in the playoffs and the World Series and stuff. No, you're right. It was
Weaver.
Yeah.
I had the great good fortune to do the interview to induct Dave Duncan into the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame, and I asked him what he was most proud of in his pitching coach career, and he said it was getting 18 wins out of Kent Botton Field. And then the next year the Cardinals traded him for Jim Edmonds.
I remember that specifically because we were working at the Old Folks Station together, and you were coming to do a hit, and I don't know if you remember this, but you said, get me on, the Cardinals just made a trade, and I brought you on, and you announced that they traded for Jim Edmonds. Carol Daniels like, who? And I'm like, Jim Edmonds is great, man. That's a great pickup. Yep. And so you were the one breaking it. I remember that story.
Do you remember, do you have a minute here? It's a great story.
Yeah.
So the late, great Walt Jocketty, who's going to be inducted into the Cardinals Hall of Fame coming up early next month. I'm down in Florida for spring training, and I'm leaving. I'd done my afternoon cast, and we had a hockey game or something, and I was walking out, and Walt is walking back into the facility in Jupiter, and he said, where are you going? And I said, yeah, we have a hockey game tonight. I'm just going to go grab some dinner and then head back to the hotel and chill. He said, why don't you just go back in the media room for 10 or 15 minutes? Just chill there for a while. I said, okay. So I go back in. I'm just sitting there. I didn't have all my equipment hooked up, and I had to hook it up when I called you guys in a hurry. But so in about 10, 15 minutes after I went back into the media room, Brian Bartow walks in. I'm the only person in the media room, and he says, "Hey, we just traded for Jim Edmonds. You can go with it." And so Walt took the time to take care of a broadcaster. You know, he didn't have to do that. He could have said, "Oh, have a good night," but he wanted to make sure. And we were partners. KMOX and the Cardinals at the time were partners, and he was just nice enough to take care of us. And that's just the kind of guy he was. He did that for me multiple times, and I really have a great deal of admiration for Walt Jocketty. Man, I wish he was going to be here to accept that induction into the Cardinal Hall of Fame, but I'm glad he knew about it before he died.
Yeah, that's a great story. Randy, good stuff. As always, the institutional memory is invaluable. That's why one of the reasons why we love you. Randy, when can we read you? When can we see you?
I'll tell you what, we're on Matrix Midwest every morning at 7, replayed at 6, and then we got the Randy Carricker Show on the YouTube on STL Sports Central, and that's every day from 10 to 11:30. Although I'm taking today off, I got some stuff to do. But I also want you to know about my friend Ryan Raphael, the Medicare man, truly the man when it comes to explaining the crazy world of Medicare. If you're a family member turning 65 and you're not happy with your current plan, you should call Ryan. Did anything change this year with your health or drugs? If it has, you have to call them. Do you have a supplement and wonder if an Advantage plan is something to consider now? Call Ryan Raphael, the Medicare man, at 314-368-6808, 314-368-6808, or online at MedicareManSTL.com.
Meep, meep.
St. Louis Plaza County Traffic Center. Here is Captain Paul Kopsky.
McGraw, there's an accident on southbound 170 at Forest Park Parkway blocking the two left lanes. We have a crash on eastbound 64 past McKnight. Northbound 270 is congested from Big Bend to 64. Westbound 64 is crowded from Hampton to McCausland. There's road work on 44 in both directions from the depressed section downtown to I-55. And the signals are on red flash at 70 and 94 in St. Charles and in a few spots along Lindbergh in Florissant. From the KTRS St. Louis Plaza Company Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
From the Woods Basement Systems Weather Desk, local experts for basement waterproofing, foundation repair, crawl space repair, and more. WoodsBasementSystems.com.
Monday, mostly sunny, hot, and humid, a high of 97 degrees, and a 20% chance for some spotty afternoon showers and thunderstorms. Those will fizzle out Monday evening. We'll drop to 78 overnight. And then for Tuesday, mostly sunny, another hot and humid day with a high of 95, and a 40% chance of rain and storms that will continue into Tuesday evening when a cold front moves through the area and finally brings an end to the current heat wave. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Kristen Cornett for the Big 550 KTRS.
Hey, let's talk about Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital. Because as you drive by Grand and Choteau, you see the new building being built right before our eyes every single time you drive by. You see the big cranes hanging from the walls, brick by brick, stone by stone. They're building a hospital for the 21st century. Kids and families come from all over the world to be treated right here in St. Louis because of the world-class health care at Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital. And magic and miracles happen every single day. It's all science fiction. What they're able to do today in terms of helping mothers and children and families, it's nothing short of a miracle and science fiction when it's all said and done. And Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital is there every single step of the way, whether it's the doctors, the nurses, the support staff, the organizations, the fundraising opportunities, the charity events, right? Our Light Up Glennon is always so much fun, where we invite the community to sing Christmas carols for the kids. Little Emerson talks about it all the time. Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital. It is an institution right here in St. Louis, and we're thrilled to partner with them for all sorts of reasons. To find out more, end of the year giving, estate planning, whatever you need, Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital, SSM Health, Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital, the website, glennon.org.
6 iconic names, 2 bobbleheads, 1 unforgettable night. Join us Friday, September 5th as the Cardinals face off with the Giants and celebrate the 1985 National League Championship. That night, 20,000 fans 16 and older will take home one of 2 1985 triple bobbleheads, courtesy of Coca-Cola and Deerbergs. Whether it's the legendary Coleman, McGee, and Smith, or the iconic Tudor, Cox, and Andujar, you won't want to miss your chance to get this unique triple bobblehead. Tickets are available at cardinals.com/promotions.
Head to the stadium on Saturday, September 6th when the Birds host the Giants. 20,000 fans, 16 and older, will score a limited edition Hall of Fame baseball card shirt thanks to Edward Jones. This all-over print shirt features McGee, Forsch, Tudor, Coleman, the Wizard, Whitey, and Herb. It's a giveaway you won't want to miss. That's Saturday, September 6th. Get tickets today at cardinals.com/promotions.
This is Willie McGee, St. Louis Cardinals for the Loop.
Do you have a high school or college student heading back to school this month? Now is the perfect time to visit New Balance St. Louis. We stock a wide variety of shoes that look and feel great. Our Fit Pros will help your family find the perfect pair of shoes for you. Excellent customer service, selection, style, and sizes are what you'll find at New Balance St. Louis. Shop local. Shop New Balance St. Louis with 2 locations in Creve Coeur and Richmond Heights. Nationally known, locally owned.
Hey, it's John Carney. A lot of conversations with the folks over at Allen Roofing, pretty much asking advice, because I know a lot of people got smacked by that storm, and he had some great advice for people to think about. First off, be careful of who you talk to when you're going to get some work done. Make sure there's an agreement and the scope of work is laid out in that contract. Also, as you can imagine, a lot of contractors are busy. Give them some time. And you know what? Allen Roofing will come put a tarp on your roof at no charge, even if you don't use them when you get the roof repaired. Also, check the Better Business Bureau. See what the reviews are for contractors that you deal with. And also remember, insurance companies allow up to an entire year from the date of loss to file a claim. So you've got time to get those repairs done and that replacement done. Don't rush it. Just a few tips from the people that know roofing and repairs better than anyone. It's Allen Roofing, online at aroofing.net.
Our students are getting unique opportunities that you just would not get elsewhere.
It does give us a lot of options to do things, room to move around and be free and hone in on the you and how that makes your creativity. I came in here not knowing a single thing about how dance can turn into singing and acting and how that can branch out into other things.
Confluence Academies and the Grand Center Arts Academy. Discover your pathway at confluenceacademy.org.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Texting enrolls you for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply STOP to opt out.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country. When you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on.
Connect with a local divorce attorney today. Text LEGAL66 to 323232. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
Now, back to McGraw. Presented by Londoff Chevrolet and Londoff.com on the Big 550 KTRS.
8:52 here, Big 550 KTRS. One of the great things about downtown St. Louis is Union Station has been reborn. One of the great cultural icons, too. Let's talk about what's going on, because more things are happening there at Union Station. Todd Hodeling joins us from Union Station. Good morning, Todd. Welcome back.
Good morning. Thanks so much for having us.
So you've got the aquarium, which is killing it.
Yeah.
That's been around how long now?
Oh, gosh. 2019 we opened.
Okay, yeah, right before the world pandemic, so perfect timing.
Yeah, great timing.
You have the Ferris wheel, which is killing it down there, right?
Yeah.
You got the soda fountain down there. The Union Station, the hotel, and that grand ballroom as you walk in is magnificent.
Yeah, a lot of events, award-winning hotel, Hilton Collection.
Yeah. The great bars and restaurants in there too as well, right? With the soccer's now kicked off, you got all that
the
soccer
pitch
stuff
right next door to the stadium there does really well, and you know, I don't know if a lot of listeners know, but we won. We were recognized by USA Today as a top aquarium in the nation.
Is that right?
Yeah, just recently, and so you know what we feel like we're the most interactive aquarium around, and that's really a lot of our feedback that we get there.
Well, when you get out and you can put your hands with the fish, and the fish start kissing your hand, that's pretty interactive, I would say.
You're not getting that many places, right?
And the train flies all around St. Louis. It's fantastic. So there's nothing left to be done there at Union Station. You've done it all.
Well, no, right?
You've packed more in.
Yes, we want to continue to add things, and I mean that's been the greatest thing about this whole project is we've invested hundreds of millions of dollars into this, McGraw, and it continues to evolve, and we continue to add things for folks locally, but also out of towners coming in consistently as it continues to lead as a Midwest destination.
Sure. So you've got now, you just are getting ready to open up we have the Ferris wheel. Now you're opening up a roller coaster?
Yeah, it's like a mini train-themed roller coaster, what they call a wave swinger, which is a big swing set that lifts you up high in the air and swings you around. And then a ship that rocks back and forth called the Louie. And everything is 1904 World's theme, World's Fair themed, and really honoring that history that we've come to really capture down there at Union Station, and opening pretty soon here, a couple weeks.
So the ship swings back and forth like a pirate ship kind of a deal.
Exactly.
And then you have the roller coaster there next door.
Yep.
So they're two different rides.
Yeah, 2 different rides, 3 total, and they're all kind of in line there with the St. Louis wheel.
Yeah, it's sort of, you really need to go there because you've got the Ferris wheel, you have the what's this thing?
The carousel.
The carousel, the Ferris wheel, the mini golf thing there as well.
Yeah, inside.
That's a great. They're sort of perfectly sort of matched, all right in a row there.
Yeah, and it's such a variety of things to do. I think with the aquarium being super interactive, you have the ropes course, which is probably our most thrilling thing now for folks, but. We just went on sale for Polar Express, which is super successful, popular holiday event. And that's, kind of a younger crowd, maybe 8 to 4 is the magic, age there. But now gets us more in that preteen, teenager age where it's, more of a thrill ride to do, so it's just a great addition that just changes the, what you're able to do down there.
And when does that open up?
It will all open up on the 28th, so right before Labor Day.
Right before Labor Day. And over the course of the years, I would think soccer games, hockey games, baseball weekends, it's busier, but it's not so busy that you have to wait, an hour and a half to sort of experience it.
No, and then we have great partners down there that operate it, and they know what they're doing, and they get you going, and they make sure it's a great experience for you, but you're not going to wait hours to get on a ride. It's going to be easy and quick. There's just so many things to do there, and such good kind of flexibility around there, what you can do.
I love the Ferris wheel. I've been on it, I can't tell you how many times. It's just it's just fun.
It's a good view.
Yeah, it's a beautiful view. It's just fun. And it's a little nerve-wracking, but it's not too nerve-wracking. And it's just
it gets you
right.
up there.
Yeah.
It gets you up there, but it's also a different experience at night than it is during the day.
Yeah. Of all of the transformations, how is Landry's Seafood Restaurant still killing it down there?
Well, they continue to renew their lease, so they're doing, I think, just fine. And I mentioned the Polar Express, but I mean during the holidays, that whole area just comes alive with the decorations and everything. So we're excited to open these new attractions as something that folks that have done Polar or come down there during the holidays, just a new thing for them to come and experience. And
do people come to St. Louis and then, I mean, the idea is they come for a game, they come for a convention, and then this is sort of wild in between meetings, in between games, the night game, day game. They sort of experience St. Louis.
Yeah, on the hotel industry side, we're seeing a big trend of folks coming in town for a convention or some type of meeting and then wanting to stay a day or an extra day or two either with their family or just to experience the city. And so this really plays into that trend and gives them those opportunities.
People
to do
come
that.
from the Midwest specifically, or I guess wherever the convention's coming in from, right?
All over, actually all over the world.
Really?
All over the world. Yeah. So I mean, we the majority of our travelers downtown are actually from outside of St. Louis right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Good stuff. Todd, thanks for coming in. Website to find out more?
stlouisunionstation.com.
And it all opens up on
the 28th of August.
Labor Day weekend.
That's right.
Good stuff. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks so much for being on.
You got it. 858 here, Big 550 KTRS. Quick check, Captain Paul, St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center. Take it away.
McGraw, there's an accident on southbound 170 at Forest Park Parkway, blocking the 2 left lanes with the stop-and-go jam back to Olive. We have a stalled vehicle blocking the right center lane of southbound 270 at Ladue Road. Northbound 270 is congested from Manchester to 64. There's road work on 44 in both directions from the depressed section to downtown I-55. And the signals are on red flash at 70 and 94 in St. Charles, and in a few spots along Lindbergh and Florissant. From the KTRS St. Louis Plaza Company Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
Hi, this is Stuart Rosenblum, president of Stewart's American Mortgage. Stewie! Mortgages are the biggest investment that a person's going to make in their life, yet most people don't know anything about it. Tune in for Mortgages and More with Stewie. That's me, where we can go over all the different types of mortgage programs in simple terms. You, me, Stewie! You'll become an expert after the first show.
Listen to Mortgages and More with Stewie, Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. on KTRS.
Kuna Food Service has been the trusted food supplier in the Midwest since 1918. For over 100 years, Kuna Food Service has been distributing the highest quality food products to some of your favorite restaurants while delivering superior customer service.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, alongside several European leaders, is expected at the White House this afternoon for face-to-face meetings with President Trump on ending the war in Ukraine. ABC White House correspondent Karen Travers is at the White House with more.
President Trump is now putting pressure on Ukraine's President Zelensky, writing on social media Sunday that Zelensky could, quote, end the war with Russia almost immediately if he wants to, even though it was Russia that started the war in 2022. The president sits down today with Zelensky at the White House after his summit with President Putin ended with no ceasefire agreement and no peace deal. Zelensky will be joined by several key European leaders from France, Germany, the UK, Italy, Finland, and NATO, a significant show of support for Ukraine amid the push to end the war. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
In a post on social media this morning, President Trump says he will sign an executive order getting rid of mail-in ballots and voting machines, falsely claiming they lead to voter fraud. No massive damage expected from Hurricane Erin because it will stay well off the U.S. mainland. However, says ABC Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z,
what we anticipate is big-time waves. Waves, we're talking 8 to 12 feet all along the coast, not just in South and North Carolina, but up through Long Island, New Jersey, but also those rip currents. On top of it all, I can't emphasize enough, overwash in the Outer Banks or that erosion, also an issue.
West Virginia, Ohio, South Carolina, all led by Republican governors and all planning to send National Guard troops to Washington, D.C. ABC's Mola Langhi's there.
So far, the National Guard footprint here in Washington has been relatively sparse, but we are expecting an escalation in troops now that several governors have committed to deploying troops from their states. In this next wave of troops that's expected to join the more than 800 National Guard troops that President Trump activated here last week.
The Dow is down 65 points. This is ABC News.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
2 Utah police officers who were responding to a disturbance call overnight were shot. 2 of them have since died of their injuries. Brigham Police Detective Crystal Beck.
Tremont and Garland officers responded to a disturbance call. Upon arrival, they immediately began taking fire. They requested additional units and then stopped answering their radio.
A third officer had also arrived, was shot and was wounded. Texas Democrats headed back to Austin and expected to vote on those Republican-leaning redistricting maps this week. Thousands of Air Canada travelers are stranded at airports because flight attendants are on strike. ABC's Melissa Adan has more.
Air Canada is now saying that the union is defying an order from the Canada Industrial Relations Board to get back to work. The airline was expecting to restart limited operations, but because because the flight attendants remain on the picket lines, this forced the airline to suspend that plan. And Air Canada is the largest carrier in Canada, operating about 700 flights a day. And the impacts of this strike have been felt during this busy summer travel period, with tens of thousands of passengers stranded at airports.
Health Secretary Robert Kennedy's upcoming government report on ways to improve the health of the nation's children will not include harsh recommendations on the use of pesticides. According to an initial document reviewed by ABC News, lobbyists prevented it, experts say. I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Kuna Food Service has been the trusted food supplier in the Midwest since 1918. For over 100 years, Kuna Food Service has been distributing the highest quality food products to some of your favorite restaurants while delivering superior customer service. When a restaurant puts their trust in Kuna Food Service, they get a team that truly cares about their success. That's why at Kuna, they like to say, they're big enough to handle it, yet small enough to care. Check them out online at kunafoodservice.com.
Mizzou football.
The rushing touchdown, and Missouri extends the lead.
KTRS AM, FM 1061, K291CW St. Louis.
84 degrees at 9:05. The NTSB released a preliminary report on the deadly helicopter crash over the Mississippi River near Alton earlier this month. The report said a witness on a towboat reported that the helicopter pilot and lineman, who appeared to be standing on the left skid wearing a safety harness, were trying to attach an orange ball safety marker to one line. On a second attempt, the tail of the helicopter struck the line. A final report is expected to take 1 to 2 years. There are big changes for St. Louis public school students on this first day of school. About 2,000 students are being relocated to other schools due to the damage of several school buildings from the May 16th tornado. There's also new buses with the transportation company Zoom. Through the new partnership, SLPS has introduced nearly 250 new air-conditioned buses equipped with technology upgrades to enhance student safety and provide parents with real-time tracking capabilities. District officials say the new system aims to reduce late pickups and make the school commute safer and less stressful for students and parents. Clayton City officials have voted to allow short-term rentals, but with heavy restrictions. KTRS's Sobe Bay has the story.
Under the legislation unanimously passed by the Clayton Board of Aldermen, short-term rentals leased through platforms such as Airbnb or VRBO would be allowed only in the city's downtown and would require a specific short-term rental occupancy permit. Stays would have to be 2 days or more, but less than 30 days, and operators would be issued annual permits that could be revoked. Parties and weddings would be banned. Any short-term rentals would be limited to 4 units per building, and only buildings built before 1955 would qualify. Sobe Bay, KTRS News.
John Deere is laying off workers at 3 factories in Illinois and Iowa. Deere and Company announced it will lay off nearly 240 employees this week. The Illinois-based company cited decreased demand and lower order volumes as the reason for the cuts. This KTRS Business Minute is brought to you by Walter Knoll Florist, a place for all your floral needs. Push your order anytime at WKF.com. Now for the market report, the Dow is down 36 points to 45,000. The S&P is down 6 points to 6,500, and the NASDAQ is down 30 points to 21,700. In KTRS Sports, the Cardinals were swept by the Yankees at Busch after an 8-4 loss in the finale. Paul Goldschmidt got his first start against his old team, picking up 3 hits for New York. St. Louis City 2 beat North Texas on the road 3-1. It extends City 2's unbeaten streak to 13 consecutive matches without a loss. In KTRS Time Saver traffic, let's go to the KTRS St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center for a look at the roads where we find Captain Paul Kopsky standing by.
All right, thank you, Rose. There's an accident on southbound 170 at Forest Park Parkway with traffic slow back to Olive. We have a stalled vehicle on the right shoulder of southbound 270 at Ladue Road with traffic slow back to Olive. There's road work on 44 in both directions from the depressed section downtown to I-55. And the signals are on red flash at 70 and 94 in St. Charles and in a few spots along Lindbergh in Florissant. From the KTRS St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
Thank you, Captain Paul. In KTRS weather, a heat advisory remains in effect for the St. Louis area through 8 this evening. A mix of sun and clouds with isolated storms possible today with a high of 98. Heat index values expected to reach up to 110. Cloudy tonight with an overnight low of 73, and tomorrow cloudy with scattered rain and storms and a high of 93. Currently 84 degrees. Time now is 9:08. I'm Rose Dalton, KTRS News, the talk of St. Louis.
Hi, it's Jill Farmer for Premier Heating and Cooling. Summer temps sure put our air conditioners to the test. A few years ago, before I knew about Premier Heating and Cooling, our air conditioner was on its last legs. We decided to push the envelope and try to limp through another St. Louis summer before replacing it. We went away on vacation and came back to discover our air conditioning unit had gone on the fritz while we were gone, and we ended up with all kinds of trouble, including warped wood floors. That delay in replacing our worn-out unit was an expensive mistake. If you're limping through and you know it's time for a replacement unit, our friends at Premier Heating and Cooling can take care of you and even work with you on financing. Or if you haven't taken the time to really get your air conditioner checked out and make sure it's operating at peak efficiency, which will really help on your bills and help with the life of your air conditioning unit, Premier Heating and Cooling is the place to go. Excellent rating with the Better Business Bureau. So many of their new customers are referred by happy customers like me. PremierHeatingCooling.net. 636-916-1122.
The 37th Midwest Salute to the Arts invites you to a 3-day outdoor arts festival at Moody Park in Fairview Heights, Illinois, August 22nd through the 24th. Visitors can immerse themselves in a celebration of art, enjoy local food vendors and a kids' creation station. Also, join us for Uncommon Collaboration, an exploration of contemporary sculpture exhibit, in partnership with Art Village Fairview. For more information, visit MidwestSalute.com. Brought to you in part by the Illinois Office of Tourism and Discover Downstate Illinois.
You know what they say, you never get a second chance to make a first impression, and windows and doors are usually that first impression when it comes to your home. Dalco Home Remodeling custom makes their windows and doors, and better yet, they make them here in Missouri. Dalco Home Remodeling is locally and family owned, celebrating 50 years, so they know a thing or two. The Dalco team is known for quality and customer satisfaction. That's the way it was 50 years ago when they started, and that's still true today. So if you're looking to change the look of your home without breaking the bank, call Dalco Home Remodeling. They do free in-home estimates. Just call 314-298-7300 and make an appointment. You can also check them out online at DalcoHomeRemodeling.com. As they've always said, if you buy somewhere else and find out how much you could have saved at Dalco, you'll blow your stack. So call Dalco first, 314-298-7300.
I'm Farmer Dave, and here's my good friend and owner of MasterCars Inc., Alex Rosenberger, with today's hot MasterCars Inc. deals.
Thanks, Farmer Dave. Summer may be winding down, but that means the great weather is moving in. Time to get the convertibles, motorcycles, and sports cars out. We're selling them at a brisk pace. As a result, we need to buy even more of them. You have a very clean, classic, collectible, convertible, sports car, or even an everyday car you want to sell. How about an entire collection? We'll buy it all. And if we're buying them, of course we sell them too. Check out our site for some of the finest hand-picked vehicles for sale in the country. Ours are that good. Give us a look. It'll be worth your time.
So rev that motor and point your car in the direction of MasterCars Inc. and buy or sell today. 4100 Namioki Road in Granite City, or visit MasterCarsInc.com to get more details. That's MasterCarsInc.com.
You get a really good balance of the music stuff and academic stuff, and you get great education in both here.
It's just so unique, it's so empowering, it's so uplifting. It just really helps to foster all of the creativity that lives and exists here. You can feel that when you walk in.
Confluence Academies and the Grand Center Arts Academy. Discover your pathway at confluenceacademy.org.
The Big 550.
KTRS St. Louis. This is the McGraw Show on KTRS.
Hold on, I just got a text from Lauren. She wants to know if she should send me updated health insurance rates. I need to text her back. Hold on a second here.
All right. We'll put the show on hold.
Yeah. She can text or email. Interesting. You know, I report junk all the time on this thing. Never, and they just keep coming. All right. Let's see here. Welcome back. It's Monday, August 18th. It's the dog days of summer. School getting back in session. today, orientation and all that other stuff, and meet the teachers and the new kids, and what'd you do on summer vacation. And I certainly appreciate back to school more than I used to. Now that I have a 5-year-old, I appreciate back to school much more than I did. Phone numbers are as follows: 314-931-5877. 314-931-5877. Text your pithy and interesting comments to 84126. We talked about quite a number of things today. Karen Travers and Stephen Roberts broke down the summit with Putin and Donald Trump in Alaska. They're meeting in Washington, D.C. with the Europeans and Zelensky. We'll see what happens there. Texas, of course, the Democrats are headed back. Randy was talking a little sports, talking a little Union Station, or really anything your little heart desires. The whole concept of the hour is open phones. And as much as I love your texts, don't get me wrong, I love your texts. The one negative thing about the text line is that it takes away from people calling. You want to tell me how bad I am? Why just tell me on the text line when you can tell all of St. Louis how bad I am or how stupid I am on the radio? You can do that and tell everybody. 314-931-5877. Text your comments to 84126. I talked about this earlier, but I just love this story. Well, first of all, there's a story I saw that a Central High School in Springfield, Springfield High School confirmed Friday that Central High School Bulldogs are canceling their high school football season.
The whole season.
The whole season. Why is the Central High School Bulldogs not going to play varsity football? You want to guess? I'll tell you. Due to lack of participation numbers. Nobody wants to play football at Springfield Public Schools Central High School in Springfield, Missouri. They said they hope to play a junior varsity schedule, but nobody wants to play high school football.
Nobody signed up.
That is so... Now, I know that, Connor, you were Clayton, right? Clayton's teamed up with... Is it Brentwood that Clayton's teamed up with Brentwood? I know
he's coming in.
Yeah, he's coming in. I know high school football has sort of changed over the years. So, Connor, grab a mic. You were you played for the vaunted Clayton High School football team, correct?
Yes.
Did you have a team up with Brentwood? Is that what it was, or with Richmond Heights?
Brentwood just didn't have a team. So if you were in Brentwood, you could play for Clayton.
If you went to Brentwood High School, you could play for Clayton.
I believe so.
Yeah. How's the Clayton football team now? Are they still playing?
Yeah, they're still playing.
Yeah. Are they still playing with? Because how many other schools don't have football teams?
I don't know.
Yeah,
that's a good question.
I don't know.
Have you ever seen Brentwood High School though? It's real small.
No.
It's not exactly.
Well, but they had a high school football team at some. It wasn't
Did
like
they?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't even know where they would put the field.
I'm just saying that this Springfield High School announced that they're canceling their football program because they just didn't have anybody who wanted to play football.
It's like Springfield and Springfield?
Springfield, Missouri. Yeah. So the Central High in Springfield.
Was it a big school though? Like,
well, I mean, it was big enough to have a football team last year.
I can't imagine like Parkway Central like running out of interest.
No, I get that.
But they have enough to field a JV team.
They have a JV team, but they don't have enough. They don't have a varsity team.
Well, why don't we just make the JV
because they'll get murdered.
I don't know. I don't know. But I think. But there's you keep reading those stories about people who are seeing that kids aren't going out for football. Mm-hmm. But again, we don't have the numbers that we used to in terms of human beings. Population, and then if you don't want to play football,
we have more people now than we used to.
Josh says he thinks Maplewood and Richmond Heights play on Clayton's team too.
Yeah, I think.
Well, Richmond Heights has like a football field.
They have a football field.
Yeah, I think. If I remember correctly, I think you could do it in middle school, and then kids like left when they got to high school.
Yeah,
and then they did their own thing.
Well, I know high school football ain't the way it used to be. I know for like the Francis Howells of the world and the Parkways, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
But for some of these, I don't want to say smaller schools, but smaller schools. It seems like it's going away. And, with this NIL money, I'm just waiting for the story where some kid's going to go to Francis Howell because of NIL money.
Well, I mean, it's not like money like that, but that already happens. I mean, kids go to East St. Louis High.
CBC for hockey.
And like all the Catholics too.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
There's a kid that is a 5-star recruit, and he just from Texas, and he moved to East St. Louis to play for East St. Louis.
I believe it. Yeah,
because they're a big brand.
They're a football factory.
Yeah.
No, I hear you. All right, get back to work, Clayton.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Connor McCarthy here.
But in public school, Zumwalt recruits for hockey.
Do you know that for a fact?
I do. Because CBC used to be the powerhouse.
Oh, and Zumwalt's taking it over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, East St. Louis is a public school.
No. I get it. I get it. But do they recruit or are they?
Yeah, they recruit.
Okay.
Yeah.
They recruit.
They recruit.
All right.
Go ask Franco out the Smet and all the Catholics.
I've opened up a can of worms. I didn't mean to open up a can of worms. I apologize. That was not my intention. 314-931-5877. 314-931-5877. Text your comments to 84126. My screener thing is not working here, so if your call, it was working and now it has crashed on me.
Yeah, let me play with it.
I don't know. Do we have? I can't see if we have any phone calls coming in. We do not. All right. All right. Phone numbers 314-931-5877. Text your comments to 84126. Also, we touched this on Friday. That recycling story in the city, boy, that got some legs too, man. A lot of people upset with that, including my sisters. I showed them that, and they were anyway. Point was that. Mark Maxwell, Channel 5, asked Kara Spencer, how is it more convenient for people to recycle if you set up 4 or 5 different recycling parts? To her credit, she answered the question and said, look, it's a lot more beneficial than the way we're doing it now because it ain't working the way we're doing it now. People just weren't recycling. People weren't recycling correctly. The companies weren't collecting it correctly. And the supply chain down the line isn't doing it correctly. So it ain't working. That's why they had to get rid of it. 921 here. Marilyn, good morning. On the excuse me, Marilyn. Welcome to Big 550 KHS. Go ahead, Marilyn. What do you got?
That's Central High School in Springfield. My granddaughter went there. She's in college now, but you have to test to get into that. It's more like a STEAM academy. So they're not going to have, all the athletes.
Yeah, but they have a junior varsity team.
Yeah, well, it's limited because it's all about academics.
Right, but the class sizes, I mean, some of the big high schools are still remain, but it's a slow march towards smaller and smaller class sizes and less kids playing football for all sorts of head injuries and liability and monies and everything else. We're starting to see high school football only for some of the big schools, but the other schools it's kind of starting to sort of go away.
Yeah, and it is a smaller school, but like I say, it's an academic school, and so not all the athletes are going to be at that school. Not to say that athletes aren't smart, but you know what I mean.
No, I know what you're saying. It's more of a it's more of a charterish type of school.
Yeah.
I hear it. Yeah. What's your granddaughter doing now?
Well, she was at Mizzou. And she's pursuing something.
All right. Good for her. We wish her the best. Marilyn, thanks for checking in. 1972 graduate and football player at Brentwood High School. 172 class size in 1972. Now the class size is 40 or 50. Yeah, that's a classic example. High school classes, maybe you can show me some or 2 or 3 that are maintaining or getting more, but overwhelmingly, not just in the city of St. Louis, but overwhelmingly, these classes are getting smaller and smaller. We're just not having the children. And then parents, was it Kurt Warner? I I think it was Kurt Warner who said that he would discourage his son from getting into football. Now, I know his son played football for a little bit, but he said that he would try and push his children away from football because of all the head injuries. I mean, what does that tell you? If an NFL Hall of Fame quarterback says, I'm going to try and push my kid into a different line of work. Also, I think Kirk Herbstreit said something similar like that as well.
Kurt Warner's son is playing. He's the starting.
One of them is, yeah.
EJ is playing for Fresno State as the starting quarterback.
Oh, okay. All right. So he didn't.
It didn't work.
Like all of the parents. The kid doesn't listen to his father. All right. 924 here, Big 550 KTRS. I hope you realize that the takeover of D.C. is only the beginning. Wake up, people. He tried it on January 6, 2021. He was not punished for the act of treason. So what makes anybody think he won't do it again? As I told Carney and Julie, you heard it here first. Well, first of all, that's not a new take. Second of all, you weren't talking about it. Third of all, the National Guard aren't going to the worst parts of Washington, D.C. They're going to the National Mall. They're going to the Washington Monument. So the question is, what are they doing there? I don't know what to tell you. Nobody knows what they're doing. What are you doing there? If you're not going to the drug-infested and the crime-ridden neighborhoods, what are you doing going to the National Monument taking selfies with people? We mentioned that last week. Bayless High School had a football team for a couple of years. The district is over 100 years old and never had a football team before. Look, we've had stories about this. That's why Fontbonne College doesn't exist anymore, because they just didn't have enough bodies. There are other schools that are in financial peril because there aren't just kids. The kids just aren't around to be educated, whether it's high school and or college. And there is a serious, serious issue of some local colleges that might not be around in 5 years because of the number of schools, the number of kids just don't exist anymore. Whether they're born or parents have moved out or they've gone somewhere else. They're not going to college. But no, it's a real issue. We'll come back, talk about it, or whatever your little heart desires. Morelli Tuck Pointing. Morelli, 314-645-1387 or MorelliTuckPointing.com. Use them a couple of times here this summer. Got to use them one more time. I got one more job I got to call them for. But why am I calling Morelli? First of all, they're a proud sponsor. They're local. Great customer service. Pricing. Somebody was getting me a deal. And lo and behold, their deal was the same price as Morelli was going to charge me. And when I told them, sorry, I'm going to go with Morelli, they said, oh, Morelli, they're the gold standard. Yes, they are. And if they're the same price as the deal, why would I go with anybody else? Morelli, tuck pointing, chimneys, walkways, porches, foundations, anything brick or stone that needs repair, Morelli. They specialize in both residential and commercial. Tuck pointing, and you need somebody you can trust. Morelli. Get it done before the winter comes. MorelliTuckPointing.com. St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center. Good morning, Captain Paul.
Good morning, McGraw. There's no problems on the roads right now, but we do have road work on 44 in both directions from the depressed section in front of the arch to I-55. Tonight, the ramp from westbound 64 to westbound 70 will be closed from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. tomorrow morning for road work. And right now, the signals are on flash at 70 and 94 in St. Charles, and in a few spots along Lindbergh in Florissant. This traffic report is brought to you by Dents Express. If the severe storms have you saying, oh, hail, bring your car, truck, SUV, or van to Dents Express for a free hail damage repair evaluation. Dents Express will have your ride looking like new again, and they'll even take care of the insurance paperwork. That's Dents Express at dentsexpressstl.com. From the KTRS St. Louis Closet Company Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
Morelli. No, Baldy. No, Baldy. My sister said this last night. We were having dinner last night. And she said, electrician is worth every penny. I said, I know. That's what I say. Morelli. She says, electrician is worth every penny. You don't fool around with electricity. You can screw in a light bulb. Great. We can all do that. After that, you want to call an electrician you can trust. Michael Baldy's been doing it since 1996. Licensed electrician. The full team is there to help you in any way, shape, or form. You know, electrician. You want to redo a light. You want to turn the garage into some type of livable space. You want to redo the basement, the attic. Maybe you saw your neighbor have more Christmas lights than you had last Christmas, and that is unacceptable. So you have to get more power to the front yard so you can now illuminate a 700-foot Santa. Baldy Electric is who you call. Have them on speed dial for all of your electrical needs. 314-968-9999. 314-968-9999. Baldy Electric or baldyelectric.com.
Hi, it's Julie Buck, and I'm here with Jeff Zufall, the Senior Tax Strategist and Wealth Advisor at Capital Advisory Group, and also the author of the #1 best-selling book on the new tax laws, Keep What's Yours. August is Financial Awareness Month, and if you own a business, your bookkeeper may be doing a great job with daily transactions. So, Jeff, how can some strategic tax planning decisions now reduce your tax liability at the end of the year?
Thanks, Julie. The short answer is a lot. Since 1976, thousands of businesses have relied upon the tax slashing strategies provided by Capital Advisory Group to help them keep more of what they earn, reduce their future tax liability, and stop overpaying their federal and state income taxes. If you're not taking full advantage of the new tax laws and you feel like you're paying more than your fair share in taxes, let my team and I help you implement tax strategies.
Give Capital Advisory Group a call at 636-394-5524 or go online, capitaladvisorygrp.com.
Hey, it's John Carney. A lot of conversations with the folks over at Allen Roofing, pretty much asking advice, because I know a lot of people got smacked by that storm, and he had some great advice for people to think about. First off, be careful of who you talk to when you're going to get some work done. Make sure there's an agreement, and the scope of work is laid out in that contract. Also, as you can imagine, a lot of contractors are busy. Give them some time. And you know what? Allen Roofing will come put a tarp on your roof at no charge, even if you don't use them when you get the roof repaired. Also, check the Better Business Bureau. See what the reviews are for contractors that you deal with. And also remember, insurance companies allow up to an entire year from the date of loss to file a claim. So you've got time to get those repairs done and that replacement done. Don't rush it. Just a few tips from the people that know roofing and repairs better than anyone. It's Allen Roofing, online at aroofing.net.
We hear so much about quality time, but it's the quantity of time that we want. Every member of the family gets enlisted in so many activities. As quality time usurps quantity, there's so little time to enjoy the freedoms that make America the envy of the world. If we could only unplug, disengage, and spend quality time together, well, we can, in an RV. Escape into a whole new world in a Byerly RV. Byerly RV. Wherever you go, you're always at home in a Byerly RV.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Texting enrolls you for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply, stop to opt out.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country. When you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on.
Connect with a local divorce attorney today. Text LEGAL66 to 323232. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
Now, back to McGraw. Presented by Londoff Chevrolet and Londoff.com on the Big 550 KTRS.
9:32 here at Big 550 KTRS from the crack staff here at the Big 550 KTRS. Richmond Heights football was shut down in 2015.
Yeah.
Now Richmond Heights football players now play for University City. So they are merging high school football teams. Oh, the humanity of it. Let's not merge towns and cities and police departments, but football teams, that's acceptable.
We got 88 munis, so.
Jim on line one. Jim, good morning. You're on the Big 550 KTRS.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, Jim.
I'll tell you what, last week, just during the week, just perusing the news, there was a story about the drug trade going on, and there were special operations troops that were bringing drugs in, opium, that's converted into heroin. So this was a news story that I read, and then you think about that. You think about the opiate crisis that hit us because of Purdue Pharma and the others. You know, there's others involved. So with that in mind, you know, over this past weekend, Saturday, I was just staying out of the heat. You know, I was just watching
minding your own business.
TV.
Yeah.
It was a program. It's on National Geographic, and they were going to. There's a whole bunch of them. It's like an endless run of shows about the drug problems in specific cities. A documentary, and like the worst one is in Philadelphia. There is some sort of like a neighborhood or an area. It's called Kensington, and they call this place the Mecca. And it's evidently they've got the purest heroin in the country there, and people from all over the eastern seaboard, and they call it they're making the Hajj, and they're taking, you know, Amtrak, any kind of driving themselves. They're going to this particular area. There's like buku. It's a lot of people that are going there. This is just like, it's like no secret. And they go there, and there are people, the dealers, they employ people called corner spotters. They got addicts that like work as testers.
Jim.
You want me to get to the point?
Please.
Okay. All right. I'll be real quick. So here is a severe drug problem, well established, well known, outright, open air, in your face, and we've got this president that's diddling around over in Washington D.C., you know, chasing down some non-existent problem because it's easy. There's like zero work involved.
Well, because
if the man wants to impress me,
as I've said from the beginning, it's a show.
That's right. And if he wants to impress me, why doesn't he show us what your business planning is, your strategy? You're so smart. Why don't you go up there and within the law, go there to this Kensington area and clean that problem up, and I'll believe you're some kind of Superman.
He doesn't have any real power in Philadelphia. I mean, we have local control and states' rights and all those other things. So that's why
direct the FBI resources there.
He has more control over Washington D.C. than any of the other cities. But it doesn't make any sense why he keeps sending National Guardsmen to the Washington Monument. That's not where the problems are.
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense because it's an easy fight for him.
Jim,
he can win that one without having to do any work.
Jim,
what?
It's a show. It's a show. Why are you so upset? It's a show. It's a TV show. It's a TV show. You
should see this problem. There's a real problem there to solve. And if this president wants to, you know,
yes, there is a real problem to solve.
Talk about how
it is a real problem to solve.
This problem solver he is. He should do it.
Yes, I've said this from day one. Does anybody think these problems are going to go away? I mean, or solved? These are really difficult problems to solve. He's performing a show. He's
picking easy fights. Easy fights.
Okay, Jim. Anything
There's
else?
real problems to solve. There's one. He could go fix that and show us how good he is.
Jim, thanks for the phone call. Appreciate it. Take a deep breath, Jim. Take a deep breath. 9:37 here. Big 550 KTRS. Actually, well, anyway, I don't want to go down. I don't. Deep breaths. Hey, listen to this. Hold on your hats. This is a lot more exciting than I'm going to make it seem. But MSNBC is now going away. The name MSNBC is going away. The cable news network has just announced, just came over the transom, just came over the wire. They're changing its name this year because for corporate spinoff, it's always been a weird sort of. It was a deal between NBC and Microsoft.
Yes.
Hence the MSNBC. Now NBC News has been trying to distance itself from MSNBC.
It's all the same people.
I know it's not. It is, but now they've tried to separate it a little bit more. But now MSNBC at the end of the year is going to change their letters. It is no longer going to be MSNBC. It's going to change to MS Now, which is going to stand for My Source News Opinion World. My Source News Opinion World, MS Now for short. It seems like they've tried to find the words to fit the it's like it's like being upset that the street is named after Stonewall Jackson, so let's name it after the Jackson 5 and still call it Jackson Street, which they have done in the past. But MSNBC is now going to be called MS Now, starting later this year. From the Country Club Car Wash text line, we know it's a show. We're upset because he's running a reality show instead of a presidency. Well, if you didn't want him to run a reality show, we probably shouldn't have elected him. He's a duly elected president. What did you expect was going to happen? When a reality show host becomes president, you get a reality show. What? So what are you so upset over? 314-931-5877. 314-931-5877. Text your comments or text your comments to 84126. Quick break. We are back in a moment. Hey, Lisi Lumber, another proud sponsor of our Radio Hall of Fame, our Radio-a-thon with St. Louis Men's Group Against Cancer on Thursday. Lisi Lumber, another reason why you go local, another reason why you keep it right here in the St. Louis metropolitan area. Lisi Lumber has 2 locations, and it's a hardware store and a lumber yard located in Belleville. They've been there a while. 1872. That's 7 years after the Civil War. That's when they opened up Lisi Lumber. They used to deliver all of the materials with a horse and buggy. Now, they'll deliver within 200 miles of the St. Louis metropolitan area. Skilled union carpenters, union teamster drivers, they're looking for builders and contractors and homeowners and people like me who love to pretend that I know what I'm doing with a hammer. They've got timber trusses and custom milling. They got all the hardwoods you need. Trim, they've got it, or they can make it for you. Cedar, oak, poplar, fir, cherry, mahogany, timber trusses, floor trusses. Any materials you need, Lisi Lumber's got it. If you're building a doghouse or an extension on that house, get the architectural renderings to Lisi. Get the scribbling on the back of a napkin to Lisi. They'll take care of you. Lisi Lumber for all of your hardwood needs, lumber needs, materials list, Lisi Lumber. Or online at lisilumber.com.
It's time to celebrate summer the Southern Illinois way at the DeCoin State Fair from August 22nd through Labor Day. Enjoy thrilling rides, toe-tapping concerts, sizzling fair food, and good old-fashioned fun for the whole family. Catch professional wrestling, blue ribbon bake-offs, and meet your favorite farm animals. Whether you're here for the car show or corn dogs, DeCoin's got the magic. So pack up the family. Adventure awaits at the DeCoin State Fair.
Before you put your home on the market, before you have to pay money fixing it up to sell it, before you have to pay real estate commissions, call me. I'm Mike Robinson with Robank Properties, and I will buy your home. Any property, any condition, anywhere, and always as is. Call me, Mike Robinson with Robank Properties at 314-283-0867. That's 314-283-0867. You have nothing to lose when you call Robank Properties at 314-283-0867.
A legendary weekend is coming to the Lou. Don't miss the Stiefel Charity Classic presented by Compliance Solutions, September 4th through 7th at Norwood Hills Country Club. Watch PGA Tour champions compete and enjoy a live performance by music sensation OAR at Friday's community concert presented by CarShield. Tickets start at just $20. Kids, military, veterans, and first responders get in free. Get your tickets today at StiefelCharityClassic.com.
Imagine feeling trapped, helpless, and afraid. That's what partner abuse creates. Alive is here to make sure that you get the help for yourself, your children, and your pets. Hi, this is Guy Phillips inviting you to participate in Alive's annual golf tournament at auction, September 8th at the beautiful Legends Golf Course. Gather a foursome, sponsor a hole, or just make a donation. And all donations get a Missouri tax credit of 70%. Get all the information at alivestl.org. Together, we'll end the cycle of abuse.
It's Julie Buck here to tell you that the patio is open at Bishop's Post right next to Chesterfield Mall. Get your reservations in now and go to Bishop's Post. You will love it. Tell them Julie Buck sent you. bishopspost.com.
Becoming a truck driver doesn't have to be complicated. At Schneider, we make it easy to get your commercial driver's license and start your new career. With our CDL apprenticeship training, you'll get paid to become a truck driver in just 5 to 6 weeks and have a Schneider driving job waiting for you when you've completed the program. Plus, during training, Schneider will provide transportation, lodging, and meals at no cost to you. Ready to get your career on the road? Learn more and apply today at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
Now, back to McGraw. Presented by Londoff Chevrolet and Londoff.com on the Big 550 KTRS.
From the Country Club Car Wash text line. Wait, MSNBC is dropping the NBC? I thought they were going to drop the MS. Yeah, so MS Now is what they're going to be called. Let's see here. Now give Josh and me the 9 to midnight slot and take the replay of McGraw After Dark off the air. Your arrogance knows no bounds. All right. Why doesn't MSNBC change their name to Odyssey? Because that worked out so well for the other station. The liberal media still doesn't get it. Lisi is customer service. Here's another one. I used to think you had a little sense of what was happening. Now I realize you just take phone calls to fill space and disagree with the callers. And use innuendo as fact to make it seem that you're with it. You're not. All right. Listen. Do you do you really? I'm going to let you in on a little secret here. Do you really want to drive conservatives crazy? Liberals? Seriously, no joke. If you really want to drive conservatives crazy, and if you really want conservatives to turn on Donald Trump, you ready for this? Seriously, I'm not joking. No one's going to do this, but there are some. But if you really want conservatives to leave Trump in droves, here is my suggestion. Liberals, independents, middle of the roaders, conservative Democrats, liberal Democrats, progressives, wherever you are in the world, never Trumpers. If you really want the conservatives to leave Trump in droves, here's what you need to do. You ready? Agree with Donald Trump. Agree with him. Usurp him. Take him on. Agree with him. In many ways, his tariff policy is very, very, very left-wing. Why do you think Sherrod Brown has a chance in Ohio to win re-election as a senator? Is because he embraced the tariffs. It was a very left-leaning idea, tariffs. What do you think Michigan Governor Christian Whitmer is doing by visiting? She's a Democratic senator from Michigan. She has visited the White House 3 or 4 different times. She has helped President Trump where it comes to tariffs and foreign policy, and where Pritzker is calling him out. Gavin Newsom's calling him out in every which way humanly possible. What is Christian Whitmer doing? She is embracing President Trump. And what has President Trump said? President Trump has said things like, she's a really good person. She's doing a great job. She's one of the Democrats we like. If you really want to drive conservatives crazy, liberals, to have AOC stand up and embrace the tariffs that Donald Trump is putting on the United States. Embrace his cozying up to Putin. When AOC does it, Well, first, the right's mind would explode. You're never going to do it. But if you really want to drive them crazy, that's what you do. I just sit and comment on these things. I just sit and watch. I talk about it. I chew on the fat. But that's right. I mean, that's what you do. That's what you do. They're not going to leave Trump unless you embrace Donald Trump. Once the Democrats embrace Donald Trump, Republicans will leave him in droves.
It's like your kids. If you
It's
like
exactly
something,
right. It is exactly right.
They hate it.
It is
Facebook.
It is exactly right. The minute kids stopped going on Facebook is when they found grandma on their feed. And then, of course, they had to find something else. Then they had to invent something else. I'm telling you. But Gretchen Whitmer, not very friendly with the liberals because she's, cozying up to Trump. But once AOC starts saying something nice about Donald Trump, you watch the fireworks begin there. 9:49 here, big 550 KTRS. Let's talk about a smart account. Let's talk about smart accounts because what a great gift you can give the next generation. All kidding aside, here's the deal: you need to teach the next generation financial literacy. You need to they need to understand that they just can't get every piece of candy humanly made. Right? There's a cost to it. There's a benefit to it. There's wait a minute, hold on. I don't want to waste all this money with another stuffy. I want to save it and I want to get this. I want to save it and get that. Wait, I save it and you're going to give me more money? Yeah, that's the beginnings of financial literacy, and you need to teach it at Neighbors Credit Union because you open up a smart account. The first $1,000 in this pot of gold is subject to a higher APY, so the kid can watch the money grow faster. A very rich man told me once when he was a kid, he understood when he was like 8 years old. Somebody explained to him compounding interest. He said, wait a minute, I give a nickel today and I have a dime tomorrow. Changed his whole life because of something he learned when he was 10 years old from an uncle. Neighbors Credit Union, they'll thank you 20 years from now, but they'll thank you because they'll have a nice big nest egg 20 years from now, and they'll have something you can't pay for, and that is financial literacy. Neighbors Credit Union, neighborscu.org, neighborscu.org.
Cancer. We need a cure.
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 That's why the St. Louis Men's Group Against Cancer and the Big 550 KTRS are teaming up to help fight cancer with the 15th annual KTRS Radiothon. Thursday, August 21st, all day long, we'll be helping raise funds to find a cure and help treat cancer victims and their families. All money raised stays right here in St. Louis. You can help right now and be entered for a chance to win a once-in-a-lifetime Masters golf experience. Go to KTRS.com and look for the KTRS Radiothon banner for details. With a $200 donation, you'll receive 3 entries in the drawing for a chance to win a trip for 2 to the 2026 Masters last day on a private jet. Trip includes round-trip flight, transportation to and from Augusta National, tickets to the prestigious Masters with food and beverages included. Plus, you'll also receive 4 St. Louis Cardinals tickets to the September 16th game versus the Cincinnati Reds, 2 tickets to a Blues preseason game, and 2 tickets to City 2's game at Energizer Park on September 12th. And all for your $200 tax-deductible donation to the St. Louis Men's Group Against Cancer KTRS Radiothon. The 15th annual KTRS Radiothon is a service of the Big 550 KTRS Cares and presented by
United Healthcare, St. Paul GM Country, Eldon Indoor Air Quality Specialists, Mosses of St. Charles, Lisi Lumber, and Ott Law Firm.
I'm Bob Hardcastle. Listen to my Money Talk radio program every Sunday morning from 8 to 9 a.m. on the Big 550, where we discuss your money in an easy-to-understand manner. We have interesting guests, chat about money. We try to help you feel more comfortable with your money by talking about the investment market. Join me. I'm Bob Hardcastle.
Money Talk, Sunday morning at 8 on the Big 550 KTRS.
Now, back to McGraw. Presented by Londoff Chevrolet and Londoff.com on the Big 550 KTRS.
9:53 here, Big 550, KTRS. It was 5 years ago when that Malaysian airplane disappeared virtually out of thin air. It took off from Kuala Lumpur on its way to Beijing, climbed to 35,000 feet, and then just mysteriously disappeared. And I don't believe they ever found any. They found nothing, right? They didn't find a piece of the wreckage. They didn't find anything. It was 10 flight attendants, all of them Malaysian. They had 227 passengers, including 5 children. Most of the passengers were Chinese. The rest were Malaysian, and some from the United States. Their last transmission was a bit unusual, but somewhat normal. They radioed that they leveled off at 35,000 feet. Normally, you say that you're going to 35,000 feet. You don't say you've leveled off at 35,000 feet. And that was the last correspondence with the plane. And 11 minutes later, the airplane started making some wild moves and turns and changes. And then all of a sudden, about 20, 30 minutes later, the plane just disappeared off of radar. 5 years later, never to be seen, heard, nothing. And it's interesting, in a world where we're trying to hide ourselves, we're trying to hide our data, hide who we are, what we look like, what we're doing, right? And this whole world is built on trying to find us. Right, the data, hidden bank accounts, they keep finding us. On a plane that is designed to be found with black boxes and pings and bells and whistles and air tags and everything that plane is built for to be found isn't found 5 years later. It's a plane designed to be found. And yet 5 years later, we still can't find that plane.
They believe they found some debris.
Maybe.
In the Indian Ocean.
Yeah. But crazy, right? I mean, just crazy. 5 years later, they still can't figure out what happened. And it didn't fit any of the other, it didn't fit a terrorist sort of path or a rogue pilot gone mad or nothing. It's just disappeared. In 2020, planes just don't disappear. So the mystery continues 5 years later. Hey, all right, we're officially done. Frank and Jill come your way next. I'm off to orientation for kindergarten.
Aww.
I do remember kindergarten. I do remember kindergarten quite well. They pinned a letter on my blue blazer, making sure I took the right bus home. I ended up taking the wrong bus home and got yelled at. But I remember my first day of kindergarten.
Did you get on the wrong bus on purpose, or did they shepherd you to the wrong
one? I was supposed to get off the bus and then get on another bus. But
that's hard for a kid.
But that's why they pinned the note on my blazer. But I ended up I should have stayed on the bus when everybody else was getting off the bus. I got off the bus, so there's a bit of angst.
But that only happened once.
Then I got yelled at numerous times for getting off the bus or on the bus or. Anyway, we're done. Jill and Frank come your way next. Thanks for putting up with me. Everything's up on KTRS.com. We'll see you tomorrow. So long, everybody.
It's summertime in St. Louis, and the Big 550 is ready to go.